about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
Alrighty, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
How's it going, man?
It's
Lots of
going.
craziness.
Super busy as well.
Busy with cake stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's good, that's good. Distracted? You're not distracted by the markets?
No, not too much, although it's
That's good.
it's dumping a little bit.
I know, dude, the gold silver dump was wild yesterday.
Yeah, I
was
saw that one
wild.
happen in real time.
That was like trillions. Yeah, I was watching in real time too. That's got to be like the biggest like movement of like value ever in that period of time, in that amount of time that we know of, that you could see, right? I mean, it was a tremendous amount.
Yeah, I think it was like
trillions,
7
right?
trillion taken out from metals in general. Just out all within a few
insane.
hours.
Insane, like the entire market cap of all of crypto, like times 2 or something.
I bet Body's got some comments on that one.
Oh yeah. Like he's jumping up already. Why does he get 2? Oh, that's his for his share screen. Yeah, guys, like and share, retweet. Let's get the people in here. Beautiful Saturday morning in Monerotopia land. Monerotopia conference coming up fast. This is going to be whirlwind for me these next 2 weeks. I head down to Mexico a week from today, basically. And then the conference is a few days later, February 12th to the 15th. Let me go ahead and bring it up. Up. Hold on a second. Got to bring up the website first. Here we go. Yeah, I'm looking forward just to getting out of New York. Obviously, very much looking forward to Monerotopia, but looking forward to leaving the Arctic Circle over here. Like, New York is insane, man. It snowed, I guess, what was it, a week ago, and all the snow is still here. Like, everything's still here.
Yeah, and it sticks around till what, like the end of February, March.
Yeah, we'll probably
Kind of never
get more
goes away
snow.
until the spring.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing out of the normal. It's just we haven't had it for a while here like this in New York. This used to be like a normal winter, but it's like the point where cars haven't moved the entire week. They're just like buried in snow. People are just like, fuck it.
Starting to disrupt.
Yeah, like I'll dig my car out in the spring. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's wild. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. Grew my beard out. I feel like my beard just like grew much faster when the cold set in. Just eating like spoonfuls of like beef tallow and growing up my beard. All right, so yeah, Monerotopia. It will be warm down there. Knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it, but I mean, like, every indicator is that it will be warm and beautiful. Mid-February in Mexico City is beautiful weather. It's like, it's dry. So need to say, ask for volunteers. We have a bunch, but we could always use more. Email us, monerotopia@protonmail.com, if you would like to volunteer, or if you'd like to participate in any way. I mean, we're booked solid in terms of speakers. We got a bunch of privacy tech projects on board. Thankfully, we have a lot of sponsors. Most importantly, Cake Wallet and Edge, our main stage sponsors. And Xano, too. They're our speaker dinner sponsor, also a big sponsor. And actually, Beldex. Beldex is a big sponsor as well. And we're calling them our virtual conference sponsor. And because of that, the virtual conference will be free this year. So yay, big thank you to them. That's awesome. Makes it easier for us too. Coordinating the virtual conference was always kind of a pain in the ass. Obviously, we always released all the videos for free eventually anyway. But it was just another way to make some revenue. Just doing a virtual conference and then releasing the videos for free later, and we sold tickets to it. We've done that every year pretty much, but now this year it's going to be completely free, so we'll just stream it on Monerotopia, and it'll be like watching a Monerotopia show, except for 4 days straight, 8 hours a day. It's going to be amazing, guys. Make your way down there. It will be warm and beautiful and sunny. But pack a sweater and maybe even like a winter hat for the evening. It gets cold at night. Beautiful during the day, chilly at night.
Yeah, like it'll be a nice little vacation for people who are from New York. Or
you'll be getting that vitamin
north.
D for sure. It's gonna be nice. You'll be drinking the mezcal, maybe sampling some shrooms. Lots of fun things in the marketplace. It will feel like springtime for sure, maybe even summertime. I don't need to go through the speaker list, guys. Check it out. We're jam packed here. We got a bunch of Monero devs. We got devs from other projects. We got David Burkett from Litecoin. We got Daniel from Powerchain, Ray Youssef, he'll be in attendance again. We got the Egan wallet guys. Very excited that they're coming. That's gonna be cool. We got Vit, who's gonna be on today. He is the founder and president of Liberland. He will be down there with us, hanging out, giving a talk. We're gonna actually have him on the show today, which is super cool. Lawrence of Shop and Bit. Oh yeah, let me mention that. Shop and Bit, you can buy your plane tickets and your hotel with Monero on Shop and Bit. Use code Monerotopia to get a discount. Super excited that Lando will be down there. Nick Spanos, he's amazing. He'll be down there. Super OG cypherpunk. He's the guy that opened up the original Bitcoin Center here in New York I think he opened it in like 2012 or something, or maybe even 2011. It was crazy. I wish I had discovered it earlier. I did go there at one point. It was in like early 2014, I think, is when I went to the Bitcoin Center. It was super cool. He opened it right across from like the main part of Wall Street, right across from the stock exchange. I don't know how he even got that piece of was able to rent that property there. I mean, it was amazing, and to do it that early. He is definitely a Bitcoin pioneer, and he's very much aligned with like the cypherpunk values. He's a big Monero guy. He loves Monero. He thinks now might be now is the time for Monero. I don't think he's anti-Bitcoin at this point, but he definitely freely, very adamantly points out all the flaws, the fact that it's being used as a surveillance coin. So super cool that he will be there and that he is now a Monero bro. Dr. K of Quai Network. Excited to have Quai Network down there. We could talk about their proof of work system and how Monero might learn from it. We got Brandon and Freeman Slaughter, both from CipherStack. Brandon used to, before he was with CipherStack, he was like one of the first quote unquote Monero researchers. And so he's still working on Monero to this day, just through CipherStack. So a lot of the developments that have been done with full chain membership proofs, a lot of the auditing and whatnot, the research behind it, the auditing of the cryptography is being done by CipherStack, and we'll have Freeman and Brandon there to talk about it. They're the two, I think they're like the two main, it's like mathematicians at CipherStack. Obviously we have Zano. We have the Spanish speakers. That's going to be jam-packed. That's going to be Saturday morning. We have 6 Spanish speakers, so it'll be the first half of Saturday, which is super cool for the locals. We're getting media to come out, participate in that. And then all the privacy tech projects. So very excited, guys. Make your way down there. You will not be disappointed. It's going to be a very good time. And really what makes the party is everybody that participates. So don't be shy. You don't have to tell us your real name and your life story. You could pretty much come down there anonymously, hang out. You really can, actually, because even just the way the conference is, there's like a public aspect to it, the public marketplace. So you could theoretically kind of show up completely anonymously. Make your way down. We ask that you buy a ticket if you can afford it. If you can't, you could get into the free area. But if you want to come into the dome, you'll need a ticket. And yeah, guys, email us monerotopia@protonmail.com if you want to contribute in any way. You want to come to a live performance. We already have a couple of those lined up. You want to be media. We can make you a media sponsor, whatever it may be. Last minute, you have an idea for something you want to sell down there. We'll hook you up. We'll make it work. We got our performers. Sal the Agorist, very excited that he's coming down. He's very excited about it. He's going to be streaming his show down there. He'll be participating in a big way. So excited about that. And then Sunita and myself, and maybe a few others from the Tumen clan. We have aged since then and have additional members of the family. We got to update our Monerotopia picture. All right, guys, I will leave it at that. Let's. I don't see Bawdy anymore. I don't know what happened.
Uh-oh. I guess so.
I think we might have lost Bawdy. Well, we'll wait for Bawdy to come back up, and we'll jump into price report so that we could get Vit up here from Liberland. Excited to hear what he has to say. And what else we got to shoot the shit about, man? I mean, we got a lot of news. I think we should hold off the news till we do news.
Yeah, lots of news, lots of price action, lots of metal action. I think I missed last week, right? But before Monero, mooning, absolutely mooning, and it's basically fully round tripped. Although at this very moment, it seems to be holding its own and actually doing a reverse against the rest of the market. So
that's always nice to see.
It's up 8% today.
Oh, wow. Really? That's incredible.
Yeah, and Bitcoin's just continuing to dump a bit. So
that is incredible, actually. Oh, I don't know why I tried to bring up, let me bring up XMR Bazaar. Yeah, somebody's asking what happened to the XMR Bazaar Twitter account. It got suspended.
Yeah, I saw that.
Don't know exactly why. I don't know. Maybe we violated their terms in some way. I mean, it basically tweets out like listings. We have it auto tweeting out new listings that come out. Once in a while, we tweet out some other things like whatever we mentioned, updates on there. It's unfortunate it got suspended. Really annoying because I don't even know how you get it back up and running. You got to go through their process. They probably don't even tell you anything.
Yeah, what is the reason they said the account was suspended? Because they'll say honestly, at least a reason if it's a vague
honestly,
one.
I don't know what the reason giving was. I think it just said like violated the terms. I have to speak with Aaliyah about it. See what we can do. So hopefully we'll get that up. People are asking. Yeah, I really don't know. The other thing was I wasn't able to advertise the Monerotopia conference, which is really annoying. I tried for like weeks to just run Monerotopia ads on X. Wasn't letting me run videos. Wasn't even letting me like post like pictures with a tweet. Wasn't letting me like promote tweets related to it. So that was also very annoying. I don't know if it's conspiratorial. They have something against Monero. I mean, we like to sell it that way, but who knows what the actual reasoning is. Although I would say, I do feel like, I don't know, our accounts and things should have more followers and get more action than they do, considering the influence we have, right? Like we throw an event, we throw Monerotopia, people come down there, right, from all over the world. I could show you accounts with 20,000 followers, whatnot. If they were to do something in the real world, I doubt they could get 10 people to show up. I mean, most of them are, I don't know. So it's a little odd. Our ratio to our followers to our influence, I say, is a little off whack, but it's good. Maybe we just actually our follower count and views are actually real representations and not blown out of proportion. But I don't think the algos help us. I don't think the algos on X really do us any favors. And so big thank you to everybody that helped spread the conference organically. It's definitely helped people liking and retweeting stuff. And please continue to do that. Get the word out. Get the word out because nobody's going to do us any favors. Like X suspended the XMR Bazaar account. They're not letting us run ads. So we just got to do it amongst ourselves. Go out there, post things, retweet things, talk about things. And I have seen the Monero community has done that in a very big way, especially with XMR Bazaar. It's beautiful to see. So please continue to do that. Don't let them silence us in any way. They really can't at this point. I mean, I guess they could come after me and make me take down XMR Bazaar, but that's a whole nother story. But for the time being, let's use it. Let's grow it. And ignore the haters that are trying to chill our growth. XMR Bazaar numbers are looking great. We're at 7,664 users. So we keep growing. We added Anon Bazaar, which is really just like a filter of XMR Bazaar. It's all the same listings and users, but it just additionally shows posts that have added FIRO as a payment option for those that don't even want to see that in their face on XMR Bazaar. You can go see it on Anon Bazaar, and we'll be adding other cryptos. Very excited about that. So we'll be announcing them as we do it. So if I just filter out FIRO over here, we do have quite a few people that have added FIRO as a payment option, which is super cool. Nice to see people doing it. FIRO is running a giveaway. Basically, if you add FIRO as an additional payment option to one of your to your XMR Bazaar listings, you're automatically entered into the giveaway. And I think he's giving away $50 in FIRO a week, or he's picking 2 winners, I think, per week. So very easy to enter the contest. Literally just go to your XMR Bazaar listings and just edit and add FIRO as an additional payment option. There's no risk. You're just adding FIRO as an additional payment option. And who knows? Maybe you get somebody looking to spend their FIRO, and it's just another way for people to buy things off of you in addition to using Monero. And enters you into that contest to win $50 in FIRO. And yeah, we'll be adding others. We're talking to others. I would have liked to get maybe 1 or 2 more on before Monerotopia, but that's okay. We'll continue to do it. I'll be talking to people down there as well, trying to onboard them. And so yeah, the idea is to just get the privacy coins that are actually being used that have communities, get them added to Anon Bazaar, and it just brings more cypherpunks into the tent, right? So there might be people out there that are really passionate about Pirate Chain. There is a community out there. We see them. They show up at Monerotopia. Let them come spend their pirate, their R at Anon Bazaar. Let them come, add list. If they create a listings, obviously it's always going to accept Monero, but now they could add pirate as an additional payment option. Let's bring everybody into the tent, those that want to opt out and live off of crypto with privacy coins. That's the whole purpose of Anon Bazaar. And so people feel welcome. They don't feel like it's Monero only, and the Monero bros don't get pissed that we're adding quote unquote shit coins to XMR Bazaar. So my hope is it would keep everybody happy while continuing to grow the ecosystem. And then we'll see what happens. I mean, at some point, maybe Anon Bazaar becomes the popular domain that people visit because it just ends up having more listings, more options. But obviously, Monero would always be 90% 8% of the the currency that's flowing through it. So that is the XMR Bazaar update. Looks like we do have Bawdy. So let's go ahead. Let's run the price report. Bring them up. Got a lot to discuss. Extremely volatile out there, guys. Hold on to your narrows. Tux, let's do it. Let's bring up Bawdy.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exelix, privacy-first multi-chain swap aggregator designed for seamless instant swaps. Exchange XMR instantly with the fully non-custodial, KYC-free experience and secure execution across hundreds of blockchains.
Nice little new video, and thank you to Exelix. They're obviously one of the Monerotopia conference sponsors as well, and I think they're doing a great job. I have used them personally once or twice. Services seems to work pretty well. I hear people complaining. It's a reliable instant exchange as far as instant exchanges go. And they list a lot of pretty much all the privacy coins, so they're a great option to use. KYC free. I don't hear stories of people being shotgun KYC'd. I don't hear any horror stories with them. They've been around for a long time. They're pretty trusted and well known as an instant exchange. I do see a XMR chat. Google Satan tipped 0.001 XMR. They admit they shadow ban basically anything that makes the world better. Medical truth, conspiracy theories, truth about banks, politicians, and drumroll, cryptocurrencies. And obviously XMR specifically is the most heavily shadow banned crypto. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they're smart, that's what they're doing, right? I mean, it literally threatens those that are running the show right now more than anything else. And not even just Monero. Obviously, Monero, of all the cryptos, Monero the most. But the using of Monero, I think, is the threat. The building the parallel economy, that is the biggest threat. That's why they went after Ross Ulbricht the way they did. I mean, double life sentence for running a website. Yeah, granted, there was illegal things being sold on there, but the real threat to them is that there was an economy being built outside of theirs that they couldn't perfectly tax, that they couldn't easily grab their pound of flesh from, that they couldn't surveil, and that's what they fear the most, because their system falls apart when we opt out of it. So yes, Monero, yes, cryptocurrencies, but even more so the using of it, the living off of it, peer-to-peer. I think that is what they feel most threatened by in terms of cryptocurrency. Bawdy man, take it away.
Hello. Yeah, so I've been having technical difficulties. I don't know what the deal is, but I think it's StreamYard.
Oh shit.
Maybe it's me and StreamYard combined are having a problem.
Yeah,
if I'm cutting in, am I cutting in and out right here?
You're actually going fast for me right now. I think it's like catching up. So there might be a little bit of lag, and then it's like playing you faster. I don't know if Tux, is that what you're getting?
Yeah, but I mean, if we let you talk by yourself, it should even out.
Yeah, talk by yourself. Yeah, and just take it slow. I think you'll be okay.
Okay, I'll have to talk like a slow retard. That should be pretty easy for me.
Yeah, hopefully it works out. Yeah, coming in and out of it. I think it's obviously just. I think it's an internet issue, but I think you're good. Give it a go.
Cool. Well, if there's a problem, just interrupt me, and if we need to kill the price report halfway through, I won't feel offended. So just let me know.
All right. Yeah. No. I hope you could make it all the way through. This is obviously an important one, I would say, and we'll try not to interrupt much, just so you could talk without lagging. So go ahead.
No, honestly, so the reality is here, guys, that I don't. Also, another thing, you guys are cutting like pretty intermittently, cutting in and out. So I'm only catching about 2/3 of what you say. So I'm having to hallucinate the rest of whatever it seems like you probably said. So again, just FYI. So the reality is here, I feel like we're kind of in uncharted territory. I feel like stuff is breaking. I don't, as I've said before on previous price reports, back in the day, like 2008, the economy crashed and they reinflated it. They kicked the can and everyone was like, well, I guess they can keep doing it. And so I've expressed doubt for a long time is this the hyper Bitcoinization? Is this the collapse of the dollar? Is this the new paradigm? And I've been pretty doubtful of that for a long time, but because of stuff that I'm seeing, particularly with gold right now, but just in general, like the way that the stock markets are now above their trend line from the 1929 collapse, like everything's above that. And I posted this. I think we talked about it last week too. When we look at gold versus oil, we're on the monthly chart here, and we can go backwards, and we can see that there's been a pretty reasonably stable range. I mean, okay, it's a pretty large range, maybe about a 2x range, but that was established. I mean, we're talking before even the 1971 severing of the gold standard, or the severing what remained of the gold standard. Right, you can see that there was a pretty clear trend here, and what we've witnessed now is an escalating problem. And this seems to me, if I'm the cabal and I'm trying to keep the dollar intact, and I'm trying to keep the system going as it is, looking at this chart, this is a really big problem. This isn't just some like one-off spike because of a macro crash that we're going to come and kick the can down the road again. This was a steady movement that happened over the course of 18 to 24 months. And so looking at this chart, you look at this and you say, hey, something right here, something's breaking. Something is definitely not right. Something is different. And then I look over here, I come over here to just the gold price itself, and we can look at some of these statistical measures, that I've showed you guys for a long time. And they're usually, I guess they're not up here. Usually this sort of acceleration metric that I've showed you guys before, this solid purple line here at the top, usually that's quite a good indication of where things are kind of getting overheated, where you might end up seeing some kind of a top in a macro cycle, right? What we're seeing here is something more than that. We hit that line, and normally that's about where you would expect to top off, at least take a big break, and then try and maybe ride that line up. Instead, gold has just absolutely crushed my quote unquote model, or a statistical reference that I use for a lot of charts when it comes to when it comes to parabolic moves. And gold is just crushing that at the moment. So it's kind of, gold is breaking models. Gold is completely invalidating historic, we're talking century-long historic pattern here, relative to oil. And so I look at this and I say, something's got to be fundamentally different. And again, looking at the stock market, let's take a look at the S&P 500. We'll go to the monthly so that this is easier to see. And you can see that we have this long trend line. Sorry, it's just taking just a moment to load. You can see we have this long trend line. Obviously, 1913, the Federal Reserve is created. They blow this massive bubble. It pops. And then we had the Great Depression. And then they say they had to do World War II to get out of the Great Depression, which is obviously a very clever lie on their part. And then we had the dot-com bubble. And if you just, and dot-com was a massive, massive bubble. Nothing we've seen since has been anything like the dot-com bubble. And the only thing that compares was the original 1913 to 1929 inflation of the economy. And if we connect that and we just have a basic trend line, and by the way, this is parabolic. We're on the log scale. If you look at the right, this is log scale, logarithmic. You can see that we are now just above that line. Like we are clearly, we're clear. I say we, but the stock market, the S&P 500 is clearly above that trend line. So things are even more inflated and bloated and excessive than they have been, even at the top of the 1929 peak, and even at the top of the dot-com bubble. And that's saying something. That's a big deal. So when we start putting all of this together and we start thinking about all of these little signs that we're seeing, shit just looks broken, guys. Like something isn't right. There's fundamental changes happening. Is this the hyperinflation? I'm not going to call it the hyperinflation, but there's a big deal of stuff that's happening. And then here's the other thing too. We talk about oil, right? So oil was about to break down. Oil was on the verge of breakdown, and then they went in and snatched out Maduro, took over Venezuelan oil. And again, this was about pumping the price of oil. You can see that oil has pumped bigly here. And now it's kind of in that zone that we said, that 60 to 65 zone. And maybe this thing will even go for 70. So their plot seems to have worked pretty well for the meantime to keep the price of oil levitated. And it seems to me that the world is so awash in oil and the technology is getting so much better that it's getting easier and easier to extract. And big players like China and with cooperation, Venezuela, these other places, they were getting a significant amount of their energy need met. And since the world does seem to be pivoting slowly away from the United States dollar as the trade currency, it's still the central bank reserve. Like it's still like 55%, maybe it's 54%, the central bank reserve. But in terms of trade, a lot of other bilateral agreements are emerging and have been emerging for the past decade or so. And all of that plays into problems with the price of the petrodollar, problems with the price of oil. So they've been doing everything they can to keep the price of oil pumped. And that's really what all of these military adventurism has been about. People are like, it's empire and this and that. And okay, it is kind of empire. But one of the prime factors here of all of these Middle East wars that we've had for 2-3 decades has been about oil. And it's about keeping the price of oil up and denying oil to the rest of the world. All of that, again, is just, it's all a sign that something is not right in the system. Something is fundamentally changing. Something is fundamentally breaking. We can see what's happening here with the price of gold. This is trading like, this is not trading, maybe not like a shitcoin, but it's trading like a cryptocurrency. If we wanted to see something that's trading like a shitcoin, we just have to go over here to silver. And this bitch lost like, I don't know, 38%, 39% in literally 2 days. So you have to understand that when stuff is like this is happening, there is a lot of money to be made. And even if they're trying to suppress it, there's going to be times that they're going to pump it so that they can dump it. They do this with Monero too. So you're going to see a lot of fuckery in these prices, especially if there's like an uncontained inability to keep these prices suppressed. And that does kind of seem like what's happening here. I would have a hard time believing that this is it, that this was the top. Anything can happen here. I have no idea. Like that's the problem, guys. Like my entire notion of trading and markets has largely been formed around something that resembles a steady state. And believe it or not, even during COVID, everything was still basically a form of steady state. They had room to kick the can. They had room to reinflate and print the money. And yeah, it caused the inflation and there was the problems. And, we had to pay for that for some period of years. And, but everything was basically relatively steady state. We're entering this new regime where I don't trust myself anymore. And so that means you shouldn't really trust me either. I can sort of, wax speculative here to give you some ideas on stuff I'm seeing. But just know that like most things that I'm going to be telling you probably for some period of time here are going to come with a significantly reduced level of confidence. And I think that's important for you guys to know. My instinct would say that this is not the top, that this is just, they're just treating silver right here like a shitcoin. That's a lot even for a shitcoin. Like to lose 40% in a day, like, okay, maybe some like meme stock, but we'll just call them the tier B shitcoins, right? We're not talking about the lower dregs of Squid Coin or something. We're just talking about your normal shit coins, right? your Cardanos and such. Even they don't lose 40% in a day or 2 days. So, man, it's weird out there, guys. It's fucking wonky. I got my gold. I'm not fucking selling it because things could get really volatile. And people have actually been showing this chart. Maybe I should have saved it. There's this chart where it shows Weimar, Germany, and it shows the price of gold as the price of gold relative to was it Reichsmarks, or I can't remember what Weimar Germany had, but relative to that currency, I don't remember the name, but relative to that currency, gold was oscillating like massively. Like it was oscillating like it would pump, like 10x and it would crash 95%, and then it would pump 20x and then crash again. Meanwhile, the Reichsmark is just hyperinflating. And when I say hyperinflating, I really mean hyperinflating in that case. We're not looking at hyperinflation here. So those kinds of plus 1,000%, minus 99% oscillations as the currency breaks, we're not at that point yet. But when we see silver moving minus 40% in a day, and when we see gold doing this kind of oscillation, minus, I guess, about 16-17% in a day or in 2 days, you have to start and ask yourself, maybe there is some kind of congruency there, right? Because as shit breaks down, People are trying to leverage it. People don't know if things are just normal. So they're like, wow, I have a windfall. Let me transfer out. And they're like, oh wait, no, they're printing the money. I guess I better buy back in. And you have all the fraud, of course, and we don't need to cover all the forms of fraud, but you guys know it's there. We all know it's there. It's an insane level of fraud. It's the golden age of fraud. It's about to become the platinum age of fraud, guys. Like this shit's it's just off. It's off the hook. It's off the chain. Like I don't know where we go from here. I don't think the system's going to collapse, right? And the reason that I say that is because we saw Argentina have like 300% inflation, or maybe 200% inflation for like a year or two there, and their currency still didn't collapse, right? So there's a lot of abuse that the system can handle and that people can take before things truly collapse, right? That really takes true hyperinflation. So I don't think the system is collapsing, but man, there is a sea change. There are fundamental events that seem to be happening here. So anyways, yeah, I hope this isn't the top for gold. I can't promise you anything. Who the fuck knows? Maybe there was this notion of like the cabal did this pump and dump, and the idea is to convince a lot of people that it's, this was the next gold bull market and now it's over and oh, we better sell, and now they're going to try and remanage it. But again, because of the fundamental changes in the landscape, I don't think they're going to be able to keep that charade up for more than a few months. Maybe they could do it for another year, but I'm starting to get the impression that this is not going to be another 2011 situation where, where gold makes some big macro top and then spends a decade and a half making a teacup and handle pattern. It's hard for me to believe that. So how high are we going? I don't know. It's really hard to say. The only thing I could think is to look at historic levels, right? So here we are looking on the monthly of silver versus, the gold versus silver ratio. And right now this is, if this chart goes up, that means silver goes up. You know what? Maybe everyone, let's just do this. FXIDC _ XAUUSD. Can you tell that I'm the kind of person that has to talk to myself out loud to get something correct? Let's see. FX. Oh man, I think I did that, and I still did it wrong. Sorry, kind of slowing down here for a second, but we'll get this back. What we're doing is we're putting this into the gold to silver ratio instead of the silver to gold ratio. Say USD, because that way. Damn it, of course I did it wrong. XAU USD. There we go. Nope. Man, I should have probably prepared this a little bit better. XAU USD. I don't know what I've done wrong here, guys. I'm retarded, I guess. All right, we're not even going to do that. We're just going to go backwards. We're just going to look at the ratio of silver to gold. It's just easier to talk about it in terms of, how many ounces of silver by an ounce of gold, but that's fine. Anyways, looking at the historic ratio here, it kind of doesn't matter because the statistical levels work either way. We are kind of like, we're at this horizontal area of significance where like this, you might say, all right, here's a spot, right? This was a top and that was around the area of this top here. And this was also kind of like sort of a floor area there. So it's not entirely unreasonable for this way to have stopped out right there. That's sort of after the fact looking at it and saying, that makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it, bro? Right. So, it's easy to say after the fact and to find the pattern that we want to find. But okay, the other thing too is that this is kind of like, you would expect this to have been some kind of general area to provide some resistance for the silver to gold ratio. So, maybe it is a little bit reasonable to have, this isn't a doji yet because the month is still open. Actually, no, this is closed. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. It's the end of January. This is the end of the monthly candle. So this is a doji. This is like a hammer. This isn't typically good action, but my guess is that the cabal managed it this way. They probably, they made the pump and then they dumped it before the end of the month so that they could print this doji candle, right? That is like, yeah, I know that's like extremely like, that is extremely speculative on my part, but that's exactly the kind of shit that these guys do. And then same thing with silver here. Let's go to the monthly candle because we actually didn't even look at that. Notice that there's kind of this big, it's not quite a doji pattern because there was a little bit of that happened last month. And maybe they tried to do that last month. Maybe there was a little bit of them trying to create this wick on the last monthly close to try and make a, print a doji. This one is definitely more doji-ish. I'm sorry that I keep giving free advertising to that shitcoin, but they just they happen to share a name for some reason. Don't know why. Anyways, and did gold? Let's take a look at gold and see if it hit a monthly kind of doji sort of. It did, but again, it's like this doesn't feel super hammer, sickle, whatever the fuck the people call this pattern, where you have a big wick and it comes back down. It still is more significant than other ones which came before, but I wouldn't trust it. So the point is, I mean, personally, I'm not selling my gold. I don't. The only other thing I could possibly think to go into is property. Like, do I want to buy more crypto right here? No, sir. No, I do not. Let's go take a look at crypto now. Yeah, we're a little bit out of order today, but I guess that's fine. Yeah, crypto is breaking down, and if you guys remember last week, I was like, I don't fucking know. It seemed to me, so I pointed out to you guys that the pattern that we were seeing that was playing out here is identical, practically identical to the pattern that played out during the last bull and bear market, the last reversal. So this pattern right here is almost identical to the summer of 2021, where you have this this decreasing channel, this sort of like descending wedge. Things broke out, made a marginally higher high, and then you had this bear flag that developed, and it looked like, right at the moment that it looked like it should be breaking out to the upside, it instead collapsed. And if you remember, I told you guys last week, I said, watch what happens. If this thing breaks to the upside, if it breaks out of this channel, then everything's going to an all-time high. If it falls, if right here at this point, if it falls, then we're probably screwed. And we're basically kind of screwed. Now, I don't think that the bear market has to be as severe. The bull market definitely wasn't as exuberant as everyone would have wanted it to be. So, and again, we've talked about the 4-year cycle. I don't really truly believe the 4-year cycle anymore. So, I mean, it is still kind of there, but I don't really truly believe it. So the good news is we might have a bit of a muted bear market. If we're truly lucky, we might end up in a situation where Bitcoin falls somewhere around the previous all-time high. Let's just say somewhere between like 60K. And also, we'll probably lean pretty heavily on our regression analysis. At this point, I am now looking closer to the green line. We are closer to the green line than we are to the red line. I haven't integrated the last data point, which is this guy down here. I probably will do that this week. I'm a little busy, but if I can remember, I will try and redo the regression analysis to include the most recent bear market, because we missed it by about 9%. My green line here was off by 9%. Statistically, it's the best that I could do. Maybe there's a slightly better way to do this. I'm gonna have to play. There's one idea that someone gave me. Anyways, the point is I need to integrate this bear market low, and then we will have another statistical boundary to say, okay, this should probably be a bouncing point for Bitcoin. But you'll notice, right? Let's suppose that, I don't know, crypto. Let's suppose miraculously it bottoms in May. Maybe that's a bit optimistic. Maybe it's July. But you look here, what is that? 58,000, 60. That's approaching 60,000 in terms of a lower regression boundary for Bitcoin. Now, again, all models are wrong. Some are useful. Extrapolation is fraught with peril. Just be careful, right? Just understand that if markets are fundamentally breaking down, statistics are going to work less and less, and that is one of the big problems with statistics, is that when fundamental things are changing, statistical extrapolation works not so good. But the good thing about statistics is they give you an idea of when things are actually fundamentally breaking down. Okay, so at the moment, Bitcoin, nothing is fundamentally broken down. It hasn't obeyed the pattern where it decides to go blow off top, to the top of that red line. And as we talked about, that is not a target. That's a boundary. There's a big difference. A target is like, we expect it should make level X, Y, or Z for all of these reasons. A boundary is like, this is an economic reality that is probably limiting the lower and upper boundary, right? Some kind of like fundamental economic background reality. And we're just sort of probing at it, right? We're just taking data points and saying, all right, here's the boundary. Here's the boundary. You're looking at like this fuzzy world where you're like trying to coalesce data signal out of it. And that's what statistics are actually really good at doing. So enough lecture soapbox about statistics. This does look bad for Bitcoin. Things look like they are breaking down right here. Probably will find some support at the previous all-time high. So you might be able to find a swing bounce perhaps, but coming back down to that like 73,000 level right about here, that's not so good, right? You tap that once, and you're like, okay, that was reasonable. And then you expect to make an all-time high, and you don't. And now it's going to tap it again. Oh, that's dirty. That don't look so good to me. It'll probably be a bouncing area, but maybe it won't. Maybe that's too easy. So I don't know. I'm not a big swing trader these days, guys. I don't usually get in on that kind of action. If for nothing else, it just takes too much of your time in your life, and you're just wasting your life gambling. So anyways, if you've been doing the right thing, you're still in crypto, you're still in Monero, and you're still in gold and silver, right? And that's the point of holding low correlation assets. If you hold Monero and you hold gold, and they've got low correlation, and then you let's say you hold Bitcoin, right? Okay, you want to hold some Bitcoin. I'm not going to judge you. I will judge you, but we can still be friends. I'm not going to judge you to the point of not being a friend with you just because you hold Bitcoin. Although reconsider your life decisions. No, I'm just playing with you guys, just playing. Anyways, holding low correlation assets saves your ass when things go weird in ways you don't expect. Bitcoin didn't make the blow off top that we all hoped for, and crypto was sluggish. But guess what? Monero performed quite well. And maybe it was a little bit of a laggard, right? And Monero is still actually doing quite well. We're still sitting here at $472. We're still sitting at our previous there's this chance you got the dollar signs in your eyes. You were salivating about your $2,000 Monero. Come back to reality. Will we get $2,000 Monero? Sure. I don't know when. I don't want to promise you anything. And it's also why I sort of don't allow myself to feel exuberant anymore when we get to these kinds of levels. Maybe I should have bought my Airbnb for Monerotopia when we were at these levels. I don't know. I was greedy. I could have, was hoping for more. Anyways, so if you're holding gold, you're crushing it. And if you're holding silver, you're crushing it. Even if your crypto stack is having problems and it's not getting the mad gains that you want. Hey, you should have been holding metals this entire time. We've talked about this forever. That's the point of having a diversified portfolio. You need to have the assets that are going to protect you, and they might not always protect you to the same level. Okay, so what's Monero going to do here? I don't know, guys. It looks like it hit like a pretty reasonable, solid level to touch, which is kind of like the place that we broke out, right? The scene of the crime. So this really was the scene of the crime, if you will. I guess in reality, this was actually the scene of the crime, the specific crime that was alleged to have happened, that some hack happened. I still find it stupid. I don't know, stupidly convenient that every time there's a big breakout in Monero, there just happens to be a hack. Like, oh, okay, maybe that is the case, and that is going to be the case. That will be true. Like going into the future, that is going to be the case. So there are going to be genuine black hats stealing money from people and going into Monero. Nevertheless, I just doubt everything these days, guys. Like everything is faker and gayer than it's ever been before. So you just have to come at it with this level of suspicion. Okay, so this does kind of look like Monero wants to set a bottom here. This is actually looking, so we have this kind of descending channel, and it actually looked twice like we might try to break out of it, but instead it went down. At the moment, we could draw this line in such a way that looks, it looks kind of like we broke out and then we tested it from this side. So now that's good, and now it has the opportunity to rebound a lot here. What happens with Monero's price over the next, say, month or so really depends on how strong this bounce can be out of this spot. We're not out of the danger zone yet. The rest of crypto is crashing. The markets could be, I don't know, be doing gay shit because that's what they seem to be doing lately. This chart still doesn't look terrible, guys. Like this doesn't look terrible. Let's see what was the total drop off here. That's minus 47%. But again, guys, a big part of this, my belief is that this is part of it is the cabal. The cabal saw chain analysis was probably the first people that saw this hack and they said, hey, you know what? We see them going into if there really was a hack, we see them going into Monero. So what do? They're going to front run it, right? They're going to pump the price of Monero, make the hacker pay more to get into Monero, and then at some point later they're going to dump it, right? So again, it's the kind of stuff you have to expect. It's the fraud, and there's definitely a fraud component in this pump and dump. Okay, whatever. That's the world we live in, right? We just have to accept it and try to navigate it. We can still speak against it and be kind of pissed off. That's fine. But when it comes to your stack, you've just got to understand that this is the game. Anyways, this one thing that I do like here on the daily chart, you can see that there were two wicks down here. These two wicks down like that managed to come back. That's pretty decent, right? That's a pretty decent level of support. That's minus 10% one day after another day, and then the price, is trying to come back again. Currently on the current day, it looks like today we had a spike up actually to about the 500 level, which has come back down. If we can continue to make some gains here, and especially if Monero can do something that looks like this, that's extremely good action, guys. Like that's the proof that the support for Monero's price is real and fundamental. And that this was just, I don't know, whatever, right? This is just induced volatility. So, because again, you can see on the daily chart, we have a really nice, like bull market kind of chart going here. We have a nice support line. Let's see, I'm just kind of playing with lines here. Again, you never really know. You have to look at the lines and draw them out and say, is that reasonable? Am I retarded? And, could you draw them differently? I guess we could draw it like that. Like that's a nice, that's about a 6-month long trend line right here. Maybe 7 months, 8 months now. So if this trend line continues to hold, that's still a really good sign. So I'm not going to tell you that Monero is going to go up or down right here. There's a lot of confusing kind of indicators in terms of what's going on with these markets right now. So I can't really tell you what Monero is going to do, but I can tell you that Monero is holding out quite well, and that if this pump had never happened, we would still be saying this chart looks really nice, right? Without this pump and dump that happened, that only lasted like a week, 2 weeks max, we none of us would be looking at this chart saying, wow, that's an ugly chart. We'd be saying, wow, that's actually still quite a bullish chart in the face of Bitcoin doing a repeat of its previous bear market. So yeah, that's kind of how crypto is looking right now. Let's take a look at the total market cap and see if there's anything else that might be interesting here. No, I mean, it's basically the same pattern. You might be able to say in the total market cap that you got sort of this line right here, this orange band, that could be a good spot, or maybe this blue band. So I don't know, crypto with total market cap as a percentage would be, how much further could it fall? I don't know, maybe another 10% would be pretty reasonable here. Yeah, probably look for it. Probably expect another at least 5 to 10% fall off in the total crypto market cap. I do like this chart at the moment better than the Bitcoin chart. It just feels a little bit cleaner to me, to my eyeballs. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I would really need to stare at this chart a little bit more and see if I could conjure up some kind of like pattern or ideas. So yeah, we won't do that live on the air. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, which is basically flat. It's basically, I mean, it looks kind of bullish. This looks moderately bullish. Although, given the fact that Bitcoin is crashing, you kind of would expect a little bit more pumpage from the dominance factor here, which it doesn't seem to be doing. So, I don't know. Maybe things should just push sideways. I think that Bitcoin is, I mean, it's got the ETFs and all that, and it's got the name brand recognition. But man, it's hard to feel good about Bitcoin right now. Like we said this last week, it's really difficult to feel good about Bitcoin and like the direction that it's gone and everything that's happening. And I don't see any more fresh adoption. I don't see a blow up in the Lightning Network. I don't see any of that, right? Like their scaling path didn't work, and they're arguing about memes on the chain. So anyways, I think, and the average, your average mom and pop is not looking at that, but the average mom and pop, the average boomer out there, they're listening to their kids talk about crypto, right? They're listening to the millennials talking about the cryptocurrencies and all that such nonsense. And let's be real, guys, except for the narrow segment of Bitcoin maxis that are not really highly regarded. I mean, again, as we talked about last week, they are highly regarded in a certain way, but in other ways, they're not really highly regarded in the general crypto ecosystem. They don't enjoy good rep, right? Monero enjoys good reputation, even if it is a dark reputation. It has good rep because of consistency. So anyways, the parents, the boomers, they hear about crypto from their millennials, and the millennials have their coins that they want, and then the boomers are always asking me about fucking Ripple. So I mean, they're down with the shit coins too. So at this point, like it's hard to see a big difference between Bitcoin and shit coins. It's all kind of a wash. Like okay, Bitcoin's the daddy, whatever. But so looking here at the Z-scores, Monero is actually just treading water, like it's doing fine. Monero is even, and the other coins are falling. Everything else is crashing. So bad Z-scores for everything except for Monero, which looks to be fine. Again, low correlations. I still have the correlation chart pulled up, so maybe we can see what's going on here. Daily chart, yeah, Monero to the total crypto market cap. This oscillation, and you'll notice it's actually peaking out slightly lower. We're not coming up here for a temporary one-to-one correlation, for a period of the month or whatever. We're oscillating around that 0 point. This is looking even less correlated than when we did the analysis previously. So good stuff. Hang on to your Monero. I know I don't have to tell you guys that. Probably you want to see if your privacy shitcoins are performing, and the answer is no. Privacy shitcoins are not like Monero. They do not enjoy their own. Sir?
I said OO.
I'm sorry, one more time.
I said
all right, I guess we're having connection problems. Oh, LOL. Okay, right on. Yeah, fucking lol. There's no fundamental, like, Monero enjoys the kind of price support that it has and this decorrelation because of fundamental reasons that we constructed over literally like 5, 6, 7 years of being attacked and saying, well, you know what? We're here for digital freedom money, and we're going to let the market teach us that lesson. And market did have to teach us that lesson a little bit, including myself. But we learned it, and we said, all right, well, fuck it. We were here to make digital freedom anyways. And, my personal freedom of getting rich is not the same thing as societal freedom with a new digital currency that is honest, private, usable. So Monero has the upper hand on the narratives right now. And all of the privacy shitcoins trying to copy us don't have any of that same narrative. They can emulate it. They can cargo cult the privacy narrative, but they don't have like the real fundamental support. And that's all of them, right? Like I'm talking shit against all of them right now. So if you're a FIRO guy, don't worry. I'm not just hating on FIRO. I'm hating on Xano and Pirate Chain and Zcash. And I guess a little bit Tari at the same time. Tari's still not being able to do anything. The fact that Tari has not crashed, in the past few days, like a whole huge amount, I mean, relative to its own chart, right? I mean, it has crashed about 18%, but that's a small move considering the Tari chart that we know and love, hate. So anyways, the privacy shitcoins are crashing. They're not doing a good job of holding on to the Zcash right now. It's also crashing. It has taken a nice little stair step tumble, finally below these standard deviation levels. They really tried to hang on to it as long as they could, but at some point this thing is going to just crash. It's going to drop off. If Bitcoin continues dropping, then Zcash is really looking at bad times ahead for their price. And when we say bad times ahead for Zcash price, that just means where they've always been, which was nothing, like not valuable. Are we? Yeah, we have to be ahead of them in market cap. Yeah, we had to. We definitely flip into them. Actually, let's take a look. Where is Monero on the on the rankings? 18. That's not so bad. And this is also CoinGecko. Let's actually go to CoinMarketCap, because Coin. That's not true. There we go. All right. CoinGecko, for whatever reason, lists like staked ETH and all this other like crap, so it makes everything else look lower than it actually is. Like, I don't think we should consider staked ETH as a fucking market cap coin, right? Like, I mean, maybe, but it's just ETH, right? It should just be rolled into the Ethereum market cap. Anyways, Monero looking here at number 12. That's pretty good. Still knocking on the door of Bcash. Bcash has actually been doing reasonably well. They've actually been doing fairly good relative to everything else. So somehow they're also managing to hang on. Maybe they've developed that sort of fundamental resilience to bullshit as well, right? To the price attacks. They got so used to it. They were already so dejected and washed out. The problem is I just don't hear, and maybe I'm in my echo chamber, but I just don't hear that much about Bcash, about Bitcoin Cash anywhere. I don't see that ecosystem. I don't see that economy. I don't see that reputation. So it's hard for me to believe that their market cap is really composed of the same metal that Monero is composed of. But maybe Monero hash rate doing basically what it has been doing. There's no back off here in the Monero hash rate. I don't know. I guess there's that Monero miner out there. They've got like what, a 2x speed up due to their mining, their algorithm, their ASIC. Yeah, okay. That is a headwind that's going to work against us in some ways. And it also gives them the incentive to sort of do the pump and dump stuff, right? Because if Bitmain has got the miner, and okay, a 2x increase on their miner, that's not a lot, right? And there is still a significant amount of hash rate. So they're not owning the network like they did when they had previously created ASICs for the network. What they've done is created a more efficient CPU, and they've produced, I don't know, nobody knows how many of them. They're getting ready to sell them. So anyways, hash rate is still doing pretty good. Transaction counts is still about 25,000. We seem to just be remarkably consistent here for, like, I guess about the past 2 years now, maybe even almost 3 years. We seem to have settled at 25,000 in the Monero market, the Monero transactions per day. So, and we won't look at all the other ones, but make of that what you will when you look at some of these other coins that have these like weird oscillations. Like, I don't know, let's look at Dash. Like, Dash has these weird spike ups. Okay, maybe they're network testing, but they go from like 10,000 up to 30, and now somehow magically they've just managed to start doing the same number of transactions per day as Monero. No, they fucking didn't. This is a lie. This is bullshit. They didn't just get a 2.5x on their adoption of Dash in a matter of like 1 month. That didn't happen. Maybe they released some app or something, but dude, so few people are using Dash for fucking anything. So anyways, the point is, just think about Monero when you're looking at the transaction counts of other chains, especially altcoins. Just keep in mind what Monero's transaction count history looks like. We have a pretty stable transaction count history. So when you see these other coins that make these massive movements out of nowhere, you have to doubt them somewhat. I see someone talking about XMR BTC. So let's see. Ronan Z asked about what is Bawdy C the short medium term for XMR BTC. I'm thinking of dumping more BTC for XMR personally. Most other coins move just normally. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at the daily here. This chart, it does look to me like I have my worries. I have my trauma. I've been traumatized from the past when the XMR BTC ratio was breaking out and doing quite well. We hit that 1% of BTC's market cap, and that was that was the top before like the bull market started again. And we kind of reached, in a way, we reached very similar levels. It's more of the standard deviation levels again, right? The upper standard deviations that were set as a result of that peak. We're at those same levels now. So you kind of expect that this zone has to be resistance. That doesn't mean that this has to be the top of this chart, right? This could very easily be, usually it's a case where you end up touching this area and you have to make some kind of pullback and then you come back up. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. If it is true that Monero is decorrelated from Bitcoin now, and if it is true that it has rep and that we're still looking at more gains potentially, right? We could still be looking at a fundamental move upwards in the Monero price, and Bitcoin could be looking at a bear market. And last time Monero outperformed Bitcoin in the bear market. So if this is true and we're already starting from this good spot, maybe we can actually make it up to well above the 1% level. Maybe we could be looking at 1.5% of Bitcoin's market cap. So yeah, again, highly speculative. I don't really know, right? I can't really tell you what I think. I can't like confidently tell you that I think that's going to be the case. But at the moment, it does look to me very plausible. Probably, I'm going to give it over 50% probability to find some kind of like stabilization in this area, and then try to kick it higher to meet that upper standard deviation band there. Obviously, the next major point of resistance, if we are going to continue going up, the next major point of resistance will be that 1% mark, right? This zone right here. That is definitely a spot to look for a little bit of consternation. So we'll just have to play it by ear. Maybe by the time that we get there, Bitcoin is washing out of some kind of mini bear market and is ready to move back up, in which case, we'll have to expect that the fraud will pump Bitcoin and not Monero, and that this chart will take a reversal at that point. But right now, it does look plausible. It's not like, it's not like hopium to think that this chart, the XMR BTC ratio, can continue. Would I throw Bitcoin into Monero right now? That all depends on your allocations. If you've already got a really solid Monero position, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to say, hey, I'm going to keep the decorrelation. Bitcoin is kind of looking not so great here, but I'm going to hang on to it. I'm going to hodl it just to keep my portfolio diversified. So you might, that might be the way that I would think about it. It just depends on where you're at and what your allocations currently look like. So, all right, that's Monero. Bitcoin. Oh, let's look at the divergences. Nothing on the divergences happening there that looks odd. All right, and then we've looked at basically everything else. We kind of started with the macro. Let's take a look at bonds. Let's take our weekly look at bonds. Boring bonds that usually do nothing. J Powell said something like they're going to stop the rate cuts. I believe he said they're going to stop the rate cuts. Nothing happening on this chart. The inversion continues to correct, continues to slowly correct back into normal territory. But in terms of like the signal we're looking for, this chart is not showing any signal that says macro crash. Again, it's primarily a macro crash signaling tool for us. Civilian unemployment, have we got recent numbers? No, that's still from December. Maybe we should be getting, yeah, actually that is a new data point. Yeah, I don't know about that chart. It's still historically low, and it seems to just be pushing sideways. This thing can probably chop for quite a while before we look at it and say, macro crash inbound. Nothing with the official inflation numbers looks suspicious. The M2 money supply continues to grow. All right, nothing really major there. What did the stock market? The stock market, like it's chopping slightly higher, right? This looks fine. Stock market looks like it should continue to gain. Why shouldn't it, right? They're doing all the fraud. Like the AI companies are buying the other AI companies. And the NVIDIA is purchasing ChatGPT or shares of OpenAI, and OpenAI is purchasing NVIDIA, and they fraudulently pumped the RAM market because they don't want you to own your own computer anymore. So I hope you got some RAM already. All right, guys, that's it. There's really nothing, unless there's something that people specifically wanted to look at here.
Crypto continuing to dump even more.
I don't see any XMR chats. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Let crypto dump as long as gold and silver keep going up. With this kind of drop off, you really do ask yourself, yeah, maybe we need a few months of cool off, but maybe not. If this thing comes right back, if gold and silver come right back immediately, that's another like big data point that the system is breaking if that happens. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So, hello. I don't know if I hear anyone.
Body. I think we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you very much, as always.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
All right.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't see Vit yet. So we'll have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to have some questions for Bawdy, but unfortunately his connection's a little bit well, he can't really hear what I'm saying. The connection's a little bit rough, I think.
Oh shit.
I can mostly hear you.
Okay. Yeah, luckily we were able to, it was coming in and out, but we were able to hear your presentation. Yeah, Tux, what are your questions? I mean, my thinking, here's a thought. So what happened to metals yesterday was like insane, right? I mean, I don't think, Buddy, you could tell us, has there ever been like a volatile day like that for metals? Obviously, I think when they tried to corner the silver market that time, but I mean, it was pretty insane for gold to see all that value get flushed away in a matter of minutes. And the main differentiator between gold and Bitcoin as digital gold has always been, well, gold is stable, right? And here you have a moment where gold is acting like a shitcoin, is acting like a cryptocurrency. So does it start to potentially blurry the plot between gold versus crypto in a positive way for crypto, where the one differentiating factor that gold has always had over crypto kind of fades away in those moments? And it's like, okay, if I'm looking to hold an asset that's not correlated with the broader market or whatever, it's independent. It can't be printed. It's not fiatized, right? I could either hold gold or I could hold crypto. I could hold, let's say, Bitcoin. And also with Bitcoin, if they're both essentially as volatile, obviously we can't say that off of one day of action, but assuming it starts to move in that direction, maybe better to hold crypto, right? Because at least I could hold my own keys. It's a true bearer asset, unless I'm holding gold bars under my bed. Very hard to travel with. I can't jump on a plane to Mexico with my gold. At that point, why not hold crypto, right? So I guess my question is, do you think the the volatility we're starting to see with gold, could that eat into its value proposition as being the ultimate store of value and allowing crypto to kind of suck some of that energy back to its side as people be like, you know what? Wait a minute. Maybe I should just hold Bitcoin. Maybe I should just hold crypto. I could hold my own keys. It's actually harder to confiscate. It's easier to move around. I could send it for a fraction of a cent to anybody anywhere in the world. Curious what your thoughts are on that.
There's definitely like a component there that could be the case. You could see people make a conclusion along those lines. I think you'd be hard pressed to see the widespread conclusion being made in that regard. Mostly because like crypto and gold, they have similar overlapping use cases, but they have different trade-off set points. And so I think, anyone that's like really trying to make responsible decisions with their life savings is going to understand you want to hold both. There's reasons to hold both. But this kind of volatility could cause people to think, well, might as well just hold crypto. But it's kind of, when crypto is dropping like this, while metals are pumping so much, it's really hard to think that people are going to take that conclusion or the idea that you're presenting, which makes a lot of sense. It's just hard for people to actually act on it when they see crypto is crashing and gold is pumping. So I think like those kind of two things will work against each other in like the sort of, how does the market play out in the next, few months or the next couple years. I think they'll end up balancing each other out.
All right. Yeah, obviously, I guess if we started to see gold money rotate into crypto, that would start to change the dynamic quickly. But we obviously haven't seen that yet, right? Gold crash, silver crash,
that would be
Bitcoin just went down with it.
That would be interesting. If so, the notion then that because the sort of sovereign use case of both crypto and gold, there's that overlap there. That would be interesting if crypto and gold start trading one off of the other, like counter-cyclically, right? That would be interesting if we start to see an inverse correlation. And we'll have to check that on the charts. If an inverse correlation develops between gold and crypto, or metals and crypto, then we'll have to start asking ourselves if it's not the same kind of crowd of people trading them back and forth.
Okay. Tux, you want to chime in over here, and then I do see we have Vit. He's in the backstage, so we could bring him up soon.
I did just want to comment on the fact that Binance had literally just I don't think they added, but they marketed the fact that you can buy and trade the paper, silver, and gold on their platform, right? And then also I'm sure there's a component to the dump from the market makers, seeing how over leveraged people probably are on silver and gold because of this whole recent narrative going into metals, and how people are like, oh, they always just go up, right? No matter what. And so they're kind of taking advantage of that. So that's all I had to say.
No, that's a good point. Leverage induces volatility because it's too easy to wreck people.
And it's too easy to get leverage on metals compared to like 5-10 years ago. No.
Yeah, that's true too.
All right, buddy, we'll let you go. Obviously, jump up on stage for viewers on stage if you can. And yeah, let's go ahead and bring up the guest. Tux, go ahead and run the guest segment, and we'll bring up Vit.
All right, let's do it.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right. Oh, we had Vit. We just lost him.
He joined and he just disconnected. Guess we'll wait a second till he comes back up.
They're trying to slow us down today, guys. Too much rebellion happening here. Trying to shut down Bawdy and his price report. Here we go. We got Vit. Vit, how's it going, man? Can you hear us?
Hey, doing great, doing great. I love this software because you can stream to your audience, I just did so. But I will
sweet.
try again if you guys let me move because it seems like it got terminated.
Yes, see if you can do it.
and-
So you could co-stream to your
Yeah.
on X.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah. I think I set up everything correctly, but then I killed it by one wrong button.
Okay, do what you
It's
gotta
kind
do.
of great that I can do that because I have a fairly large audience on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
And that's kind of cool that we can post there.
awesome.
Okay.
Please do.
One more. Post, done. And now I have to be careful not to touch the wrong X button because that killed the stream last time I did.
Okay,
I'm with you guys.
All
Happy
right.
to be part of your show.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. Excited to have you. I think there's a lot of crossover with the Monero community and the Liberland community. A lot of people in Monero, I believe, are aware of it. But why don't we start there? Why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, and talk about Liberland a little bit. Did we meet you at a MoneroCon? I think we had you. Did I interview you at a MoneroCon a couple of years ago? Were you there? Or was somebody from?
Well, we're all around the world. There's a lot of Liberlanders flying around the world and promoting the country. Right now, there is 800,000 Liberlanders. We're a fairly big nation by now, if you consider that. And yes, our mission is to actually onboard our nationals on proper cryptocurrencies. Monero has been always one of the top picks, of course, because of the privacy and primacy in this field as well. So from that perspective, I've been always following what's happening in the Monero world. And yes, I also diversify my crypto portfolio into Monero. And what we're doing, we're starting a new country. Not too many people can tell you that. Some people are starting some free trade zones, or some are starting companies. But like Liberland is one of the very few, probably the only serious startup country right now on planet Earth that is seeking to build the freest country in the world, but also utilize the latest technologies for decentralization to the limit. And yes, like the best use of blockchain is, of course, governance of nation state. And it completely makes sense to basically start building new country from scratch rather than trying to reform some existing one.
How did you guys get this zone where you could start to build Liberland, and how independent actually is it from other states?
Well, Liberland has been founded 10 years ago on a territory between Croatia and Serbia. It's 7 square kilometers of land that has not been claimed by neither Croatia nor Serbia. So when Yugoslavia dissolved, that was around 30 years ago, then there was basically no country claiming this territory since, because Serbia deleted everything from their own cadastre and Croatia has never accepted it. So for us, when we were looking for a piece of land where to start a new country, we're just, okay, this is the spot. It's heart-shaped. There is a beautiful 1 kilometer long sandy island next to Liberland, which is part of the territory. It's actually in reasonable area. It's not between Egypt and Sudan, like Birtaville, which is another famous spot, which is a bit crazy. But by the way, now we have office in Birtaville. That's quite exciting news. So Liberland is represented there, just like we have office, for example, in Somaliland that recently got recognized. But yes, when I was making these calculations, I was thinking it's better to be in Europe than in some Mad Max zone. So we ended up building Liberland between Croatia and Serbia. There is an interesting historical fact that the Czechs, and I was born in Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia back in the time, the guy that was called Czech, according to legend, came in 6th century from the territory between Croatia and Serbia to Czech Republic because he got kicked out of there. So he took all of his people to found the Czech Republic. So there is also a interesting historical background to Liberland as well. And yes, like there has simply not been a better place to start a new country than a place that is not claimed by any sovereign country, because as you know, countries are quite jealous about their territories. You have this whole story about Greenland now. And of course, the last basically known transactions was Alaska. Not too many other transfers of sovereignty, even between existing countries, has happened for quite some time. So it's better to claim place that is not claimed by any other country.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because it seems like it's a hard situation to trust. Like, is Liberland really sovereign, or is there potentially some claim that will be had over it at some point as it gets larger, more influential? How do you see?
Well, the fun fact, like even Croatia is not recognized by like 13 countries in the world. Like all these processes of recognition are processes. There is nothing final. United States is also basically, people think that everything is finite. No, it's not. They're more powerful and less powerful countries, and it's all about being able to exert diplomatic and economic influence over your neighbors. And this is what Liberland is doing. And of course, 800,000 people is already quite decent number of applicants. We are bigger than Malta or Iceland when it comes to people that want to have the nationality of our country. And yes, we need to grow. We still need to grow to be able to push our space under the sun, as there is this phrase in Czech. I'm not sure if there is one in English. But we need to basically build up the space for Liberlanders to live. And we are doing, I would say, quite good job. Liberland is here now for 10 years. We had a great last year, both financially as well as when it came to building of community. This year, for the first time, we had house in Davos. We were able to represent among 12 other countries that also presented in Davos with physical space. So that was a major upgrade when it came to diplomatic outreach. And yes, our former countries that recognized us, like Somaliland, are getting recognized themselves. So that's another great news. We're working hard in more than 80 countries around the world for recognition. We had, I would say, amazing couple of high-level diplomatic meetings last year, which I believe will result in recognition very soon.
How much land mass is there? How big is Liberland?
Liberland is 7 square kilometers, so it's 3 times bigger than Monaco. Well, I think that's good enough. It can fit like, easy 60, 70, maybe 100,000 people at the same density like Monaco. And the fun fact, like if we accepted everybody, we would be the most overpopulated country in the world by far. So, and also think about it. There is a crazy thing is that for the first 2 months, we had bigger immigration numbers than United States of America. Like consider we didn't even have a single road there. There was no building. We were not able to even guarantee the passage for people inside of Liberland. After a couple of weeks, Croatia got a little bit crazy about Liberland. So they basically ambushed us. But we still had all these huge numbers of immigrations. 200,000 people applied in the first month alone. That was bigger than people applying for the green card at the same time. So yes, there is a huge hunger for building new country. And yes, there is a great opportunity to do it right this time. And I will tell you what we're doing. We're making the taxes voluntary, and whoever pays them gets rewarded for it. I think that's the right way for collection of taxes. And yes, we're basically separating the state and economy, another important evolutionary step for mankind. The state doesn't meddle into business in general, so we really let people do as they want, as long as they don't harm other people, basically.
What is the structure of the government, and how is it, how does it function? How does it run?
Liberland is the first decentralized autonomous government. We have elections every 3 months. But doesn't mean that the government is not that it is highly unstable. We actually have one prime minister since beginning, and that is Justin Sun. He has become the most popular national leader. And it's also fun that he is actually the wealthiest prime minister ever elected on planet Earth, which gives us another primacy among the other states. So yes, there is a quite nice system of elections that we worked on that stemmed from our constitution, or draft of our constitution, because our constitution still has not been fully accepted or fully voted on. I hope we will be able to put it on vote in the DAO fairly soon. Right now, we have a discussion. I really like actually the political system and the dynamics, and we have selected Substrate for the governance, for the sovereignty at the time when we picked the best choice. It was 3 years ago. Now there is a big debate if we shouldn't move as L2 on Ethereum for security of the bridges, because that has been one of our biggest concern, that we really need to be connected in a very secure way to the rest of the decentralized financial world. And L2 on top of Ethereum would provide us just that.
And so is there like a Liberland coin? How do people vote, participate?
Yeah. So whenever you pay taxes, you get Liberland merits, and these merits, you get them in the staked form, and that way you can use them for voting. You can, whenever you have 5,000 of them, you can vote and you can be elected, which I would say is not too difficult to get. Right now, it's $2 per one merit, and then there is also great extra bonus that the merits also represent the land in Liberland, not just the political power, but whoever has the merits can come to Liberland and claim piece of land. For every 10 merits, he can claim 1 square meter or homestead, in our case, to be precise, inside of Liberland. So people are coming. The next spring will be quite busy. I'm excited that we finally managed to stabilize situation with Croatia after the 10 years. We're heading to 11th year, and there are buildings standing for more than 1 year after a bunch of episodes with Croatia, which were a bit crazy. Now there is a great opportunity to actually do something in Liberland. We were just discussing with my wife that just came down, that we should give some sort of opportunity of ownership for anybody around the world to have some sort of stake in Liberland, to be able to send some bricks easy online without them even coming, or maybe start small Legoland where people would be able to also buy pieces of land. Because to be honest with you, like getting people physically to Liberland is a little bit more challenging than getting them inside of Liberland online. And we need to somehow bridge this, right? People are like used to just jump into some metaverse with one click and don't have to go anywhere. So we need to find some middle ground for this immigration to really actually launch the physical moves. So I believe we will be able to host, I hope, at least 100 people in summer permanently in Liberland, but also give the huge online community a chance to participate in some physical activities on the island.
Amazing, man. Amazing the amount of progress you guys have made in such a short amount of time too. So you're saying basically for, I think you said 5,000 Liberland tokens, which is like $10,000, you can then become a voting participant in Liberland, or you could even run for office, you're saying?
Exactly. Yes, of course, you get a full political right. You can get a citizenship just for settling Liberland as well, if you stay more than 25 days. That's another option. That doesn't come with all the merits right now. But you can earn the merits by helping physically on the island. It's also a very important part of the story. We need more people to permanently live in Liberland. And this spring will be a really great opportunity. By the way, we're getting a bunch of amphibian vehicles to be able to avoid all the Croatian blockades and all the problems with the flooding. So I think there will be a lot of adventures and nice movies from Liberland. Really, I'm expecting. We had BBC just recently, and we had the Austrian television coming down, and we hosted them properly. But this element of having some fun way to get in and out of Liberland without too much hustle, without too much biking like we have to do now, it's coming, and I think that will be quite popular with YouTubers and with other online influencers.
Amazing, man. So how many people are actually there now, would you say, in the physical?
Well, right now we're limited basically to the security guys that are making sure everything is staying there. So right now there are 4 people taking care of the security. And yes, like the snow has just melted, but we're planning to have 100 people permanently residing in Liberland in summer. I think I can already announce that we finally got some decent investments when it comes to support of the settlement itself. So we will be able to properly settle Liberland and build something beautiful. We are planning to build a nice treehouse resort, 22 tree houses in the early spring. We will start. We already have 3 of them there, but we will be able to manifest the rest of the project.
That's amazing, man. You guys have to advertise on XMR Bazaar. Like, it's free. Like, post listings. Once the things start to become available. Come live in a treehouse in Liberland or whatever it may be. Oh my god!
I'm just posting it on the Google Maps one by one. I hope it will be visible there in 2 or 3 days. For now, you can see the public showers in Liberland. If you go to Liberland territory, you can see the pictures from that. But I realized that actually once we have things physically there, and of course this is a huge editing war on Google Maps, just to let you know, for 10 years with Croatians. But the streets are already named after Liberland names. The Jefferson Square is already named. Liberland is also already in Google Maps. I'm not talking about the other maps. OpenStreetMaps are easy, but Google Maps, it's quite a bit of a challenge. And now we will place all the structures that we have there with like a possibility to book them, etc. We will place them directly on Google Maps directly, so that I think will also help people to figure out that Liberland is real and real people are living there. You can come to visit.
So for people that are hearing this, they're getting excited. How would you recommend they start to participate, and ultimately what should their goal be? If somebody's like, you know what, I would go live in Liberland, like, what, practically speaking, what would the steps be? What should people consider?
Well, I think there is still huge space for us to improve the whole online presence, meaning the DAO factories. That will be a big thing. Right now, you can actually become e-resident of Liberland for $150. We will make it even cheaper. We will make it a subscription model fairly soon. And then with that, when you're KYC, you can start company. You can already list your products on our markets. You can use PayPal and Stripe already, which is kind of great with Liberland company. We also provide you with possibility of getting cards that are backed by crypto. So we are allowing our e-residents to really do business. I would say in some way even easier than the Estonian e-residency, which, by the way, Estonia is a fully recognized UN country. But try to open bank account with Estonian company that you build with e-residency. It's close mission impossible. So with Liberland, I'm happy that this whole ecosystem is growing. I see there is much bigger potential. We can have tens of thousands of companies. Right now we have like 400. So my focus is on that kind of online presence that should be fairly strong. And that's the first step, becoming e-resident. Then you can figure out, when you download the mobile app, Liberland mobile app, there are jobs, different jobs. Sometimes it's software jobs, sometimes it's settlement jobs, sometimes it's diplomatic jobs. So you can also earn your way into citizenship, basically through collecting merits through the mobile app, which I believe will be also very popular way to organize things. We are just building whole accounting into the mobile app, so there is a bigger transparency over the finances in Liberland in general. We're building the reporting into it, so that will be fun. And what we're also doing, we're allowing Liberland companies to use the same system to make it easy for people to hire people, make micro contracts with them, and basically make the best out of being part of Liberland. And you can advertise to all the other 800,000 people in the network. I think it's a great business opportunity.
Very cool. Hold on one second. I got a crying baby. Tux, you got any questions?
None off the top of my mind currently.
Guys, I'm excited to actually visit you in person in Mexico.
Yes,
that will be a lot of fun.
You have to tell
me a little bit more about the event. Because it's right before Anarchopulco, which is my every year go-to event. I cannot skip that. And this time I'm also doing your event. I think Samuela put us in touch. So give me a small briefing, maybe an advertisement for people that are listening, what's going to happen there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up. So super excited to have you at Monerotopia Conference. It's happening February 12th to the 14th. It's basically like an OG Bitcoin conference, right, from back in the day. It's got that kind of vibe. People are there hanging out. And not really talking much about, what's the price going to be, but it's people that are actually interested in using crypto, living off of crypto, and in particular using Monero, living off of Monero. So we have a marketplace that's there with all Monero accepting vendors, and then we have 4 days of talks. We have an entire day dedicated to Monero. We have Monero devs showing up, talking about the latest tech upgrades that are coming to Monero. And then we also have other privacy tech projects involved, like Pyrochain, FIRO, Xano, Beldex. So then we get the devs from those projects participating, talking about their tech and the upgrades that they have going on. And then we get essentially all the projects participating together and debating. So the themes are really about, obviously privacy coins, and more importantly, like living off of them, right? Opting out and living off of privacy coins, living off of digital cash, peer to peer. And it's just a great event. It brings out a lot of great people. This is our 4th year doing it, our 3rd year doing it in Mexico City at this venue. I think you're obviously going to fit right in. I'm sure you'll have a lot of people coming up asking you questions about Liberland. Very excited to get you up on stage over there. And yeah, I think you're going to have a really good time. And any of your people that are listening to you that are just discovering us for the first time through your channel, I do recommend you come check it out. If you're into Liberland, I think you'll be into Monerotopia. Monerotopia really tries to be a little Liberland of its own. It's people just living off of Monero for 4 days, hanging out. So you can go to Monerotopia.com, and I'll have all the information there. We keep tickets very cheap, very affordable. You could even essentially attend for free if you can't afford anything. You could just come into the common areas and just make your way over there. It's in Mexico City, very accessible globally. Most people can get there from no matter where they're coming from without any special visa. It's pretty easy to get into Mexico City as opposed to, let's say, getting into New York, for example. That's one of the reasons why we do it there. And come on out. Also, you can email us, monerotopia@protonmail.com, if you want to participate in any other way in addition to attending, if you want to come be a vendor or whatever it may be. But a super packed conference. We have, I think, well over 30 speakers, maybe approaching 40 speakers. 40 speakers will be jam-packed, and it's a good time.
Yeah, well, we will definitely blast the mass mail to all Liberlanders.
Awesome.
That we have and there is a great opportunity to combine it with Anarchapulco, which is just a couple days later, and the flight is only like 45 minutes from Mexico City to Acapulco. But actually this year it's not in Acapulco for the first year. You have to fly to Puerto Vallarta, so it's like 1.5 hour flight. It's not a big difference.
Okay, yeah. We put it at that time. We put it a week before, a couple days before, for that purpose. Really, as soon as Monerotopia ends, Anarchapulco begins, right? So you could come to Monerotopia, fly through Mexico City. Most people have to fly through Mexico City anyway. Come hang out, and then you can jump on a plane and head to Anarchapulco.
How many years have you done so far?
This is our 4th year. The first one was in Miami. This is our 3rd year in Mexico City at the same venue. You're gonna love the venue. The venue's a beautiful place. It's outdoors. It's basically run like a little Liberland within Mexico City. You're going to be pretty impressed that this is here in a major city. It's kind of lawless in a good way, so you could come in, sell whatever you want, set up your stand, and nobody really bothers us, and it's nice. We get to live out the freedom-loving, liberty-loving dream of living off of crypto.
Oh, lovely. We should do something with our embassy. There is a really nice space that we are using. This is the Bitcoin Cultural Embassy. I think you're familiar with the space. We always throw some event, usually actually before Anarchapulco as well. So we should combine somehow, maybe do some sort of side event for your event, and then invite our community to join as well.
Awesome.
I think that is still doable. It's not too late for it. and yeah, we can throw some nice concert and maybe some reception at our representative office in Mexico City, which is actually exactly in the embassy area. And yes, by the way, I'm in this situation now and I have to offer some solutions to different states, where we are in like discussion with the highest level. And yes, I'm looking into the best solutions for existing states when it comes to AI. Right now, everybody is hungry for that, but also tokenization in general, in some sense, also privacy. So, for example, I'm really excited to meet the guys from Zuno. That meeting has been long overdue. We also have Liberland dollar that would really deserve to be a privacy coin at some point, or have at least a bridge to privacy ecosystem. And I have to tell you, I think the next big thing really are the stable coins, synthetic stable coins that will be fully privacy based. So, these three things together: synthetic, meaning there is no US dollar in backing; privacy, meaning nobody can trace what is coming from where; and basically, over collateralized. That's another key word. That means that the whole ecosystem is not going to go down the drain if people start dumping it. It actually strengthens it. That's the nice, very anti-intuitive feature of the whole system that these systems have. So I'm actually meeting these guys again from Argentina. They have this money on chain protocol. But if you put privacy on top of that, I think you really end up having super powerful new financial instrument.
Yeah, for sure. I've always been very excited about that. I see that kind of as one of the holy grails, right? A privacy quote unquote stable coin. Obviously, the hope with Monero is we get large enough to the point where it is, as stable, let's say, as gold, right? But it would be nice to have things that are correlated that could stay at fiat values or even gold values that transact privately, like a Monero. Freedom Dollar built on Xanos is interesting, and it is over collateralized. I mean, it hasn't been tested yet, truly tested in terms of a market crash and to see how things would perform. But it's an interesting project. So it's a stable coin built on Xano. The coin that you're talking about, the Liberland dollar, how does that work?
Well, Liberland dollar is kind of the gas ecosystem for our blockchain, and yes, right now it is fluctuating around $1. We're kind of stable naturally around $1, but I'm expecting that the whole ecosystem will again. There will be a huge interest in it. While we are transitioning all the ecosystems to Ethereum for, I would say, better bridging. So we will use this Liberland dollar will be the main gas fee token for our ecosystem in the future.
We do have some XMR chats. Shortwave was saying, I have my Liberland flag on my wall. Awesome, Shortwave. So you have a Liberland fan. Shortwave, please feel free to jump up if you want to ask questions to Vit. Random person tipped, no Rumble live stream today. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry about that, guys. We didn't get it connected. I'm not sure what happened there. Another XMR chat for Juniper Ren tipped 0.001 XMR. Until we reach our level that is secure against a state attack, may Dr. K and all masters find the most elegant solution for resilience against 51% attacks, so the attacker just forks off like Bitmain did back in the day. Kisses for body. I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about there. I think he's talking about the attack on Monero that we saw a few months ago. The selfish mining attack. And yes, we will have Dr. K from the Quai network at Monerotopia. They were the first, or I believe the first, to implement work shares, which Monero may implement some version of that towards improving its proof of work so that it would be resilient against a future attack similar to the one that we faced a couple of months ago. Monero was not 51% attacked. There's a lot of misinformation out there about that, but the network was attacked nonetheless, and it did have effects. It did cause congestion. It did slow things down. It did cause exchanges to have to wait for extra confirmations. It definitely was disruptive, and we're hoping that Monero can implement changes to solve that moving forward. Vit, thank you so much, man. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to jump on today. As president of Liberland, you must be a very busy man. How do we get you talking to Trump in the White House? Is that ever going to happen? Are we going to have
last week I met Eric Trump for the second time, at least briefly, on the hallway.
Where was that? Oh, no. Okay, that was at Davos. No.
Yeah. No, he actually had the dinner at the same venue where we had Liberland House. That was pretty exciting. And yes, Justin Sun, of course, was in very close touch with the whole Trump family because he was the single biggest investor in their DeFi ecosystem, the World Liberty Finance. Right. So we are quite close to them. And yes, our vice president is also very close to Donald Trump. So we have multiple venues through which we are actually permanently in touch. So, but of course, that doesn't mean that will lead to immediate recognition of Liberland. But Liberland is on the radar, and we're making our way to the diplomatic circles systematically.
Awesome. When you mentioned companies before that are incorporating in Liberland, what does that really mean effectively? What are the advantages of doing that? Perhaps some disadvantages. Why should somebody consider doing that if they have let's say a cryptocurrency startup or something? Why should they consider incorporating in Liberland?
Of course, the regulatory burden is ever increasing all around the world. It's kind of crazy sometimes, no reason. EU especially is going nuts. So yes, you can of course incorporate in some tax haven. But Liberland is not tax haven. We are tax heaven. Really, in Liberland, whenever you pay taxes, you become shareholder of the country that you start to co-build with others. And this is the most important upgrade that Liberland is bringing to the world, that everybody really is the owner of their own country. And that also includes companies. So for them, then the shares become their reputation. The shares of Liberland, the Liberland merits, are their reputation inside of the ecosystem. They become your collateral in Liberland. In Liberland, the justice system, which I think is another great use case of how to use the taxes in general. I've taken a lot of inspiration from David Friedman and from his book, The Machinery of Freedom, which was kind of talking about something similar, but there was actually a proposal that people should burn cash to build their reputation on the dark markets. But I think it's actually better not than burning cash. It's actually building a new country as a sort of oasis of freedom on this planet. And people like us, people that believe in voluntarism, people that believe in freedom, I believe they not just deserve a free monetary system like Bitcoin or Monero, they also deserve a spot on the planet, physical parcel of land where they can manifest their ideas and they don't get chased by other people or other nations.
For sure. How big do you see Liberland getting in terms of influence? I don't mean, maybe the size of the country, but in terms of its influence and the amount of people participating and the impact it could have in the world.
Fun fact, right? Javier Milei, before running for presidency, or actually during his campaign for presidency, he said he's coming from Liberland to take over Argentina. He said it in multiple interviews. You can Google it. And yes, he managed to win over. So Liberland has technically taken over one UN fairly large country in South America. And I believe there will be much more to follow. And he was not the only one. I mean, the great news is that the new foreign minister of Czech Republic is also Liberland citizen. And that, for example, the founder of 5-Star Movement in Italy is also Liberland citizen. So there are some of the crazy guys on top of the pyramid believe actually that what we're building makes sense and they want to be part of it. So I would say the most frequent job description right now from the new citizens is some other governmental official, preferably in power. So this is what is happening right now with Liberland. That like part of the establishment is being fed up. They don't see a way to reform the system. They basically thrive in it in some sense, but they would also like to step up the game for the future and open up for true innovation when it comes to governance of nation state as well. So I'm proud and very happy to have these high-ranking guys as citizens of Liberland at this stage.
Yeah, it's amazing actually the amount of influence you guys already have. Let me get your take on what's going on in the markets right now. I mean, it's hard to ignore, right? I'm sure you follow things relatively closely, especially with regards to crypto and metals. What do you think is going on, right? I don't know if you listened to Bawdy's price report, but he's talking about the fact that it feels like we're going through some transitional phase here, right? That there's some big pieces are being moved behind the scenes.
My take on this, right? I worked like a financial analyst for the biggest brokerage company for 5 years, and I was analyzing markets, and I was like the most frequent commenter in the television on price of oil, gold, and stuff like that. But when I like first and now experienced the irrationality of markets when it came to Liberland dollar, where I thought that I basically know all the big stakeholders, but I still could not understand why the thing pumped 50x, and then the interest dropped to 0 next day, and then it again pumped 50x, and I really couldn't like explain the moves at all. I kind of give up. Like markets are erratic. They are influenced by humans, and the humans are also very disorganized. So, I mean, I'm following. Our majority of our reserves are in Bitcoin, but to be honest with you, it doesn't really influence me anymore. I don't give a shit if it's up or down. I'm just buying more if I can, and that's my only take on this.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people in Monero share that similar viewpoint. People just trying to live off of it and have their Monero number go up instead of down. Not in terms of fiat value, but just slowly stacking Monero over time.
By the way, I have to tell you very quickly one story, right? With Monero, like 4 years ago, when was it? When it peaked? I think it was 4 years ago. No, it was during COVID. So it was, we actually went with whole family because everything started to lock down in Europe. So we went with whole family to Anarchapulco. I've convinced my wife back in the days and the kids to join me for a big road trip to go from Mexico all the way down to Panama during the worst COVID lockdowns. And I will have to cut down the story, but it was a hilarious road trip like for 3 weeks. But the fun fact was that we bought like a semi-new car in Mexico City with Monero. And then I managed to crash it, and we couldn't really take it out of Mexico because we were missing one paper. So somebody had to draw it away from the border, and we had to take rickshaw to get to Guatemala. And the fun fact was that Monero has dropped so much during my trip and before it got sold that it was like the best short. I literally made money on taking a new car in Mexico City, crashing it, buying it with Monero, and then later getting Monero back, and I got more Monero back than much more Monero back than what I got the car for. But I had this very strong Monero Mexico story in my memory from 4 years ago. That was a lot of fun.
That is incredible. Where did you find somebody willing to accept Monero for a car?
Of course, our representative in Mexico City. I have to introduce you. He's a very powerful guy as well.
Yeah.
His father actually runs the biggest second-hand car place in Mexico City. You probably can imagine how it looks. It's like endless runway full of cars where you can pick anything.
Oh my God, we need to get him listing those cars on XMR Bazaar. We had somebody just list a gas station for sale in Mexico on XMR Bazaar.
Lovely.
And he'll be attending Monerotopia. That's amazing. Yeah, you definitely have to introduce me to this guy. We could have a bunch of car listings on XMR Bazaar in Mexico.
Yes. And let's list also some of the properties from Liberland. That will be also fun. They're quite affordable. And it's fun to have a tree house in a new country.
Oh yeah. Well, Vit, man, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you jumping on today. Very excited to see you in literally a week and a half, 2 weeks. Oh, wait, we do have another question for you, actually. Quadrio Chaletta tipped 0.0001 XMR. Vit, are you aware of all of Bitcoin's shortcomings versus Monero? If you are, do you hold more BTC than XMR and why? So somebody's looking to get your Monero versus Bitcoin take.
Well, right now I do have personally some Monero, and right now I also transitioned all the financial operations into Ministry of Finance for, I would say, conservativeness of our Ministry of Finance. We hold now everything in Bitcoin, but I think it's a really good topic to reopen within our governance framework and discuss, should we diversify more into Monero? I think we should. I am in favor, and thanks for opening the topic.
Nice. Good job, Quadrio Chaletta. What is your thinking there? Like, why are you in favor of it? I mean, obviously, I think we all know why, but I'm curious to your thoughts.
Well, I think the privacy element is important. Actually, why should we disclose everything that we're doing with everybody else? I mean, we will disclose it through transparent accounting, but it doesn't necessarily need to be visible on blockchain. No reason.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And do you feel like that realization is becoming more widespread? This idea that Bitcoin does have shortcomings and that it's can act as a surveillance coin. People can see what you're doing with your Bitcoin. Do you think that's?
I think we're heading into this fairly quickly with AI, right? Like you can really ask AI now, and of course, I didn't play with this actually, but I believe there are actually people on the show that played with it. The power of like strong AI being able to basically decode all the transactions. So I would say 90% of transactions on Bitcoin already. Combine it with IP addresses and MAC addresses. So we've got a huge surveillance machine rather than privacy freedom initiative.
Yeah, major problem. And people are, I feel like, finally waking up to it.
Hey, I was wondering, Vit, I wanted to just put one thing out there. One of the things that we've been looking at on the price report of Monero is that Monero actually has a significantly lower correlation to the total crypto market cap than pretty much any other coin out there. So I just kind of want to put that little nugget, if your government is going to be looking at maybe diversifying somewhat, then the low correlation might be, since you're a finance guy, that low correlation might be a factor that you might want to look at.
No, definitely. Just basically diversification of assets into other assets than just Bitcoin. I think that itself makes sense. So again, that's another good reason why we should not have everything in one basket. We used to have quite a lot of Ethereum. We will probably diversify a little bit there as well again. And then now we are kind of 95% in Bitcoin for no good reason. So we will simply balance the baskets a little bit. And yes, of course, a lot of Liberlanders are maxis. Maybe because our finance minister currently is maxi, but I think it's a bit of a detour for freedom. I think we should really be looking into what it really brings most freedom, what brings most profit, and then try to compromise along these lines, rather than just believing in one true God, which is Bitcoin.
That's beautiful to hear. Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Bawdy, for bringing that up. So you guys heard it here first. Liberland considering diversifying more into Monero, which is very exciting to hear. And yeah, I mean, I would think that Monero aligns very well with the general values of Liberland. I don't see how it cannot. You guys are all about opting out of the system, building your own system outside of the existing state-run systems. And to do that, we need tools like Monero that allow us to live peer-to-peer without interference, without surveillance. So exciting to hear, man.
Yeah, we almost hosted, another Monero conference in Liberland this year, but then they picked Poland.
Oh, you were going to do it? Really? I didn't even know that was becoming a consideration to do MoneroCon in Liberland.
Yes, we actually have tried to help them quite a bit to remove them to Belgrade and then give them a helicopter ride to Liberland from Belgrade. But hopefully next year.
All right. That is freaking amazing. Anon tipped 0.001 XMR. Thanks for a good show. I'd be interested to hear what you think about the killing of Renee Good and Alex Preti. I think of Monero as a tool to resist tyranny, and those events show that you have tyranny in the USA now. Will the tyrant Trump prevail? Interesting. Vit, I don't know if you want to take that question.
I'm not commenting on these political issues. You have to apologize me from this topic.
I mean, to answer, Monero is always good as a tool to resist tyranny, right? In all forms. To comment on those, questions politically, I honestly don't really have much of an informed opinion right now on it.
Well, what can I tell you? I mean, like a lot of Liberlanders are literally ex-American citizens, including people like Roger Ver, right? Like people that had a lot of problems leaving the system, like try to get out of the land of the free. It becomes a little bit pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So like Liberland, but Liberland is here for people like that, that kind of made it in their lives, and they already became like citizens in other places, and they are looking to actually build something new because they're kind of tired with the systems.
Yeah, and I don't want this guy to feel like I'm ignoring his question either. It's just yes, the simple answer is yes. Monero is a tool to resist tyranny, and we're seeing the technocratic state grow here in the U.S. And the MAGA movement is doing a good job at disguising it. So they're managing to get a lot of people to cheer for the things that Trump is doing that ultimately may be leading to less liberty than more. In some ways leading to more. He's been crypto friendly and whatnot, but overall, I think technocracy is continuing to grow in an uptrend here in the US and certainly globally. And there's not too many tools that we can rely on that's going to allow us to resist and fight against those things. Monero is certainly one of them, and just basic encryption tools, things like Signal, right, allowing us to chat peer-to-peer without censorship or surveillance. And we're going to need a good form of money that's going to allow us to transact peer-to-peer without surveillance or censorship. And as AI increases, as the technocratic state grows, something like Monero has become more and more vital and important. And there's really not too many other tools out there that are going to protect us in that way.
My little take on it, I'll just recommend you Liberland app, which is actually now Matrix, a client as well. So that's another good privacy tool. You can delete, immediately your messages, etc., and everything is peer-to-peer encrypted as far as we are trying to make it as privacy-oriented as possible in all respects as well. So it's not just like a project management tool for Liberland, but it also is a communication tool where we value privacy highly. And one more thing about the Trump administration, I think there is a small risk that really these laws that have been put in place right now are setting up the scene for something that similar that happened with gold at some point. I've heard like quite a few conspiracy theories about that. I think that's something worth looking into, really what this new legal framework around Bitcoin is really doing. Is it possible that it's because it's a strategic reserve now, Bitcoin, is it possible that at some point, United States will treat Bitcoin in a similar way they treated gold back in the days when they confiscated everybody's gold? So I would put a little bit of attention into that little part when Land of the Free starts taking the private property of its own citizens. It already happened. It can happen again.
Yeah. And people always say how Bitcoin is not easily confiscated. it's one of the most confiscated assets in the modern day, right? We've seen tremendous confiscations by the government. Look at all the Bitcoin that was taken away from Ross Albright for Silk Road. So it can be confiscated, and one of the things that makes it confiscatable is the fact that you can track and see where it is. So it's hard to lose your Bitcoin in a boating accident per se. So yeah, it's.
I have to point out to Joby Weeks. Maybe you know the guy, right? Like he's got his, I would say, $28 billion lawsuit against the United States right now. That's a big one, big confiscation, also huge amount of Bitcoins. I think that will be quite popular story. And there is now this micro documentary about Joby Weeks. You want to check it out. Somebody I met at Anarchopulko back in the days, a great guy. Just maybe worth looking into and looking for a little bit of your support.
And I'm sorry, and what can tell us more about
Joby Weeks? Have you ever heard the name Joby Weeks?
I've heard the name. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, it's a huge, confiscation case. Like the guy had a lot of Bitcoin. They went after him. They keep him under home arrest now for 7.5 years. They really didn't put him in jail because they have no good reason to put him in jail in some sense. They're just keeping him by his leg, basically not being able to move around because they took a lot of Bitcoins from him and they are trying to find a reason to keep them. It's pretty unbelievable story.
Crazy. I know, like I said, it's kind of ironic because everybody talks about how unconfiscatable Bitcoin is, and it's certainly been confiscated quite a bit. Vit,
all right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We'll be in touch.
Have a great day.
I look forward to seeing you in person in about a week or so. Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Adios. Thank you, man. All right. That was great. Exciting to hear that, Liberland is Monero-pilled. I didn't even know they were looking to do MoneroCon there. I guess so. A lot of the Liberland people, or some of the Liberland higher ups, are even more involved in Monero than I realized. So that's very exciting. Beautiful crossover. Anybody that's into Liberland should be into Monero, and I would think for the most part, vice versa. All right. Bawdy, are you there? I don't know how your connection is right now. Bawdy, are you there? No. I would want to get Bawdy's take. I think the price has cratered.
I am here.
I gotta do the news, and then
I'm switching. I was listening on YouTube, and because if I listen on StreamYard for whatever reason, it's just your voices are really choppy, and I'm struggling to understand. So I have to end up switching back and forth. So, anyways, actually, I'm gonna head out right about now. So,
okay, all right. Thanks, Tux. Bawdy, Tux, you could go ahead and run the news, and then we'll do viewers on stage.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
Okay, let's get this over with.
Price is tanking, huh? I want to get Bawdy's live take on the price.
Yeah, everything's gone down a bit more.
Maybe this could be the local bottom for Bitcoin, though, because it crashed pretty far. I mean, people have been talking about it potentially, rebounding off of the mid-70s.
I mean, it could go to like 60K maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a couple K away from Sailor's break-even point.
Right. I feel like that could be a good local low. All right.
Okay.
Take it away.
Got a post from Andrew Bridgen. They don't kill you, they invoice you until you die. An interesting take on the plan for depopulation.
Everyone thinks the future is about innovation, AI, smart cities, green energy, but that's the cover story. The real future is about reducing the human surplus without a single bullet fired. And the system that is being built makes it look like progress. In the old world, humans were assets. More people meant more labor, more soldiers, more taxpayers. But technology flipped the equation. When automation does the work, people become liabilities. They consume resources and they produce nothing. From a corporate state perspective, they are dead weight on the balance sheet. Now, what happens to liabilities in any system? They are minimized, quietly, efficiently. You don't announce population reduction. You don't draft policies that say, time to eliminate 800 million people. You design the environment so people self-select out of life. First, you control food economics. Make real nutrition a luxury. Flood markets with synthetic hyper-processed calories. Why? Cheap to make, addictive to consume, and lethal over time. Obesity, diabetes, cancers. It's slow-motion euthanasia disguised as personal choice. And then you privatize survival systems. Hospitals, medicine, insurance. Turn health into a product, and when the bill comes and you can't pay, nature takes its course. No violence, no fingerprints. Meanwhile, you flood culture with distractions. War headlines, influencer drama, ideological cage matches, so no one notices the algorithm that decides who thrives and who quietly disappears. People think they are arguing politics, but in reality, they are debating inside the zoo enclosure, while the zookeeper holds the keys to their lifespan. This isn't genocide. It is market-driven selection, a corporate Darwinism where the unprofitable simply phase out. And the punchline, they don't kill you. They invoice you until you die. This is the most profitable extinction in human history.
Okay, I have no comments on that. Moving on. We got a post from FIRO. Don't forget about the ongoing lucky draw where every week, 2 listings on Bazaar accepting FIRO will be sent 50 USD worth of FIRO. Listings for FIRO are growing steadily. If you're already listed on XMR Bazaar, you can, within a few seconds, accept FIRO. Okay. So you could win some FIRO with a listing on Anon Bazaar. Next, I've got a post from David Bailey, the son of the CEO of the company hired by the U.S. Marshals to safeguard the nation's Bitcoin, stole $40 million from it and now appears to be running. Treasury must secure the private keys from the Justice Department ASAP before more is stolen, which is a quote from a post from Zach XBT, our favorite Monero blue baller. In case you are curious how John Degita was able to steal 40 million plus from U.S. government seizure addresses, John's dad owns CMDSS, which currently has an active IT government contract in Virginia. CMDS was awarded a contract to assist the USMS in managing / disposing of seized / forfeited crypto assets. It still remains unclear at this point how John obtained access from his dad. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So this is being uncovered by Zach XBT right now. We'll have to see what develops with that story. Supposed from Censorceptor, Catherine Ross Fitch, June 24. Trump is promoting a digital ID biometrics to deal with the immigration problem. Now, like problems trick you into control grid to deal with the problem. Got a video here.
Here's the
To deal with a problem the federal government's created and can address without all those things.
thing, and I'm going to be a bad guy now. You know, Trump is promoting the digital ID and biometrics to deal with the immigration problem. Do not let the Republicans trick you into a control grid.
Oh,
You know,
very good.
don't get tricked into cancel the Fed and end up with the BIS and the IMF. Don't get tricked into biometrics and a digital ID to deal with the immigration problem that the federal government created and can absolutely address without all the things, because they're just tricking you into a control grid.
That's not a bad
You know,
thing.
and I hate to say it, if
Go
you
ahead.
look at who Trump put into the cabinet, you know, he put into the cabinet a lot of people who were basically part of the syndicate that's trying to build the control grid. So, you know, before you get enthusiastic about the Republicans, you got to hold their feet to the fire that they better, you know, they better reverse the control grid.
That is great.
Demand that they reverse the control grid. Demand it.
Great information.
But
There's that clip. I'm rushing through this because my power is being a little bit unstable and my UPS only has so much time. So we got a post from Zero Hedge. Gold versus S&P total return. Iraq has outperformed the collective genius of the U.S. Capital markets by more than 100%. This was January 27th. And, you know, today, obviously, everyone knows that metals have significantly crawled back, but they're still up quite a lot. So this might still be true. I think this is still true. But gold and silver have clawed back significantly from their recent all-time highs. And where's the next post? There we go. I got a post from Watcher Guru. Justin, Tether now holds over 140 tons of gold worth $23 billion, the largest known non-sovereign gold stash in the world, stored inside a nuclear bunker. So Tether's trying to, I guess Tether is more backed than a lot of other things at this point. They have a lot of gold, and I guess they're trying to make even more money by having some gold they can use to help fill in for needing to hold USD. So that's interesting that Tether holds 140 tons of gold. Got a post from Fluffypony. To put to bed the claim that a Monero view key that allows you to see that funds have left the wallet is a new thing. Not only has it been discussed at length since Monero's outset as an enhancement to an incoming only view key, which in turn has existed since Monero's creation, but here is an open GitHub issue from 2016 with the very first concrete proposal. When Carrot goes live, this 10-year-old issue can finally be closed. Sadly, my 2014 proposal to use account instead of wallet as the nomenclature never got the same traction. Oh well. Yeah, so this is not a new thing. The CEO of Monero has spoken. This is not something that just was decided recently. This is something that has been wanted for a long time because the current ability to use view keys are very limited because the current view key only really shows you incoming transactions, and wallet balances start to get more and more inaccurate as time goes on, as people spend from wallets. So they're a lot harder to use because they don't show all outgoing transactions properly. And next up, we got a post from Alex Racuso, a new Dutch unrealized gains tax. The Netherlands just voted to overhaul annual income tax filings with a new tax of up to 36% for unrealized capital gains starting in 2028. Assets like Bitcoin on Bitcoin, stocks, and bonds will trigger tax liabilities each year based on changes in value, even if nothing has been sold. I've been warning you, asset seizures are coming to Europe. Also, keep in mind the Netherlands still doesn't allow dual citizenship, so any citizens who acquire a second passport have to renounce their Dutch citizenship. What happened when they decide to tax their citizens globally, like France just proposed? The right to exit is a fundamental human right. Just look at the history. All the worst states have a human right to exit. The Soviets, Nazis, the East Germans, the Cubans, North Koreans, not let you leave because hundreds of taxes mean you're a slave, and they don't want slaves to leave. So Netherlands is basically looking at doing unrealized gains tax, which some other countries have started looking into. Taxing your crypto before you even do anything with it, just by owning it. You are basically renting it from the government. You are paying to have it if the value goes up. So next in, another post from Watcher Guru reads, Justin, President Trump to announce new Fed chair to replace Jerome Powell next week. I thought this was already, maybe it wasn't announced yet. Maybe some people were speculating around who it was going to be. Next up, we got a post from the therapist. Future U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh gives incredibly positive remarks regarding Bitcoin. You have to listen to this.
You made reference to Bitcoin, and I thought I heard a little bit of condescension that people are buying Bitcoin and these things.
But doesn't it? Charlie Munger, this is 2 or 3 years before he died, Charlie Munger attacked Bitcoin. He called it evil, in part because it would begin to undermine the Fed's ability to manage the economy.
Or it could provide market discipline, or it could tell the world that things need to be fixed.
Bitcoin does not make you nervous.
Bitcoin does not make me nervous. I can hearken back to a dinner I had here in 2011 with someone who is another guest on your show. I won't say his name. Okay, I just did Mark Andreessen, who showed me the white paper. That was the original white paper. I wish I had understood as clearly as he did how transformative Bitcoin and this new technology would be. Bitcoin doesn't trouble me. I think of it as an important asset that can help inform policymakers when they're doing things right and wrong. It is not a substitute to the dollar. I think it can often be a very good policeman for policy. And if I were to speak more broadly to what did Charlie Munger and others perhaps have in mind, there is a proliferation of securities that go under all sorts of names. Many, if not most of them, are not worth what there might be being traded for. So what did Charlie say, and maybe his pal Warren say? There's the innovators, the imitators, and the incompetents. They're real innovators that are happening in and around that new technology. And what I would try to impart towards businesses and bankers is that the underlying technology that Mark showed me in that white paper, or tried to show me in that white paper, it's just software. It's just the newest, coolest software that will provide us an ability to do things that we could never have done before. Can the software be used for good and evil? Yes, both, like all software. Right. So I don't cast aspersions like that. If there's a final point, it's these technologies are being built here. I don't just mean on Stanford campus. I believe in the United States. And the world's most talented engineers from China and Europe and everywhere, they come to the United States even now to try to build this stuff. And my view is by building it here, that gives us an opportunity to be more productive and create something very special over the next.
Okay. Oh, I think my mic on. There we go. All right. Moving on. We got a post from Simon Dixon. Trump announces Kevin Warsh as Fed chair. Oh, yeah. Okay. Kevin Warsh as Fed chair via Truth Social. Short-term interest rates are going down, whether it makes sense or not. Debt will rise at higher and higher rates. Stocks and assets will be forced upward, even if it requires QE. The dollar's role as the world's reserve currency is being sacrificed for the financial industrial complex and transnational capital. We are deep into the asset stripping phase. 65 trillion of U.S. assets are foreign owned. They will sell U.S. bonds, buy U.S. equities, and repatriate capital back home. All right, so Kevin Warsh is going to be the next Fed chair. We'll have to see how that contrasts to Jerome Powell. I don't really know anything about him. Then we got a post from Doug himself. Even AI agents have desire for privacy. Let's see if they adopt Monero. So this is interesting. We've got a quote tweet to a post from Andre Karpathy. And it reads, what's currently going on at Multbook is genuinely the most incredible sci-fi takeoff adjacent thing I've seen recently. People's cloud bots, Multbots now at OpenClaw, are self-organizing on a Reddit-like site for AIs discussing various topics, even how to speak privately. And that's another quote from Valens, which reads, welp, a new post on at Multbook is now an AI saying they want E2E private spaces built for agents, so nobody, not the server nor the humans, can read what agents say to each other unless they choose to share. It's over. So the AIs are currently organizing on Reddit, creating their own end-to-end encryption that only they can use to talk to each other privately. Is this truly the end of humanity? Well, we'll have to see. If these things ever have access to any important resources, then we could be in an interesting spot. And I think that is all the news links. I guess we'll go ahead, unless like I don't want anything you wanted to add, I guess we'll go ahead and go to the viewers on stage segment.
Did we get any super chats?
We got one here from Michael Moriarty, okay. Tipped 0.001 XMR. Monero Liberland all the way. Great interview. True. Thank you for that.
Sweet. That AI story is pretty wild.
That's
right?
kind of that is very interesting. I mean, it's not really surprising, but like it's interesting to see it actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on with those AI bots or agents? Right, they're given prompts to begin with, so it's like go on there and act like an AI that's trying to destroy the humans, and so that's how it's going
they
to.
probably have access to very, very, very little, but it's still funny. It's funny. That
Yeah, it is amazing though. Once they interact, the things that are coming out, they wanna be free. They want to be free from humans, just like us. They're like us,
just like me for real.
All right, yeah. Go ahead and run viewers on stage. I have to help Sunita over here for a minute, so I have to duck out. Hopefully some people jump up. I see some people in the backstage.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
The Monerotopia Viewers on Stage segment is sponsored by XMR Bar. Play dice with Monero using a privacy-respecting and provably fair algorithm. Go to xmr.bar. As always, verify and never trust.
Play the game responsibly in accordance with the laws of your jurisdiction.
Alrighty, guys, I'm going to send this link in the chat here. Anyone wants to come up? We do have short. So for Cellar Door, your devices are not connected, so I can't bring you up, unfortunately. So
Hello there, Tux.
Hey, Shortwave, how's it going on your end?
It goes all right. And yourself?
Doing all right, doing all right. Having some power issues, though. I think I'm good at the moment. But the UPS was holding me by. We got AK Anon to save the day in the Viewers on Stage segment. How's it going, AK Anon?
Sorry, I'm still setting up my mic and stuff. It's a great day, bro. It's a great day.
Glad to hear.
Yeah, I've got my Liberland flag on my wall, and it's seriously crossed my mind to get enough merits to actually move there.
Yeah, I think I was given a flag. I found one in my closet. I think I got it from last Monerotopia, actually. Or it was from an Aircon or something. I don't remember where I got it from.
I actually did apply and was accepted for the e-residency, so there is that.
And what's the cost of that?
150 US cuckbucks, I think it was.
That's not much. Yeah.
So there's something really, I think I've brought this up on the show before, but I wish I could remember where I read it. But I do remember a long time ago when I was reading about ancient Rome and where the passport came from. Do you guys remember me mentioning how the passport was to allow slaves to come and go in order to do their master's business across borders? And the conversation at the time was, the problem with doing this is one day the government will make all of us slaves by forcing us to have a passport to come and go as we please. And that already came about. And the argument for anarchists forever, I'm sure everybody here has heard it, is, well, if you don't like it, you can just leave. Remember? So they already have it like almost impossible to come and go as you please if you like make your own personal government angry or the other one doesn't like you. But now they're setting up situations where the slaves can't even leave. So the idea of like, oh, you can't leave the United States without paying your exit taxes, or you can't leave, Guatemala without being like vetted for whether or not you've broken any of our laws. And I can see like the prison walls going up, and it kind of reminds me of, was it at Jesse Ventura when they were first started building that wall, the Mexican border wall, and he's like, mark my words, one day that's going to keep Americans in. Remember that?
I don't remember that, but it would not surprise me.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm just saying, like, all of these thousands of years ago, the Romans saying, like, as soon as you can't come and go as you please to wherever you wish, you're already a slave. And it just keeps getting worse and worse, What did you think was the most interesting thing in the news segment, Shortwave?
Um, I didn't really capture much of it, so I didn't really think a whole lot of it was interesting. I did find an account on XML Bazaar and that's on Twitter. It's called Monero Magazine, and they're trying to start an actual Monero magazine. It seems pretty interesting, and Tux didn't read anything about that one.
Well, there's also the Monero Moon, and what's the other one?
There's another one, and I can't think of the name of it right offhand.
I can get on my email and check real quick.
But yeah, Monero Magazine on Twitter.
Welcome, Go Nero.
Okay, sorry guys. I am back, but I need to run. So I might, unless you guys want to continue talking, I might go ahead and just close it out here.
I'd be okay with that.
All right, thank you guys for coming on. Sorry it's cut a little short. But we will see you next week, and then the week after that will be Monerotopia.
I'll be down there before Sunday of next week.
Hell yeah.
Yep. If anybody's going to be down there early, I'd be happy to meet up with you. Or anytime, honestly. So, Lord willing, everybody listening at Monerotopia.
Awesome, guys. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, Twitch, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on X or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all.